Hello guys, welcome to Saiyan What Ifs. So in this video, we will see, what if Goku became the Dragon God? If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to How is some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1. The Awakening of Divinity. The sky above West City fractured like shattered glass. Crimson lightning forked between clouds that had never belonged to Earth's atmosphere, dense, metallic form. Oceans that reflected light rather than absorbed it. Citizens pointed upward, their faces illuminated by the unnatural storm brewing overhead, unaware that the phenomenon marked the arrival of something ancient and terrible. Goku felt it first, a pressure unlike anything he'd experienced before. Not the familiar weight of gravity or even the crushing spiritual energy of a god of destruction. This was different. It pressed against reality itself, as though the universe were a thin membrane about to rupture. "Something's coming," he whispered, his muscles tensing involuntarily. He stood atop the jagged cliffs overlooking the city, orange gi rippling against his body. Years of battle had honed his instincts to near perfection, but even those instincts couldn't prepare him for what approached. The hair on his forearms stood on end, not from the electricity in the air, but from primal recognition. Something within his Saiyan blood responding to an energy that predated even his warrior race. First-dimensional tear appeared directly above the city center, a vertical slash of darkness that widened slowly, revealing glimpses of a realm beyond. Not the purple-black of space or the kaleidoscopic tunnel of time travel, but something both more vivid and more void, a place where colors existed that had no name in any mortal tongue. Through this cosmic wound emerged a figure, hovering effortlessly. Humanoid but distinctly inhuman, tall and lithe with skin that appeared to be composed of living scales that shifted from midnight blue to burnished gold depending on how the lightning struck them. The being wore no clothing save for an ornate chestplate that seemed to be carved from a single massive gemstone. Its eyes contained no pupils, only swirling galaxies of violet energy. "I am Ryujin," the entity announced, its voice resonating not through the air but directly within the minds of everyone for miles. "I have traversed the great beyond to reclaim what was stolen. I seek the vessel." Goku didn't wait for further declaration. In an instant, his aura exploded around him as he transformed directly into Super Saiyan Blue, bypassing his earlier forms. The familiar rush of godly ki flooded his system, yet somehow felt inadequate against what he now faced. "Whatever you want, you don't need to threaten innocent people," Goku called out, teleporting instantly to hover before the entity. Ryujin's gaze fixed upon Goku, those cosmic eyes narrowing slightly. "The Guardian speaks with the voice of mortals. Interesting." The being extended one hand, palm upward. "Your energy signature, it resonates with potential. You may indeed be what I seek." Vegeta arrived next, materializing beside Goku with his own blue aura flaring defiantly. "Who is this freak?" he demanded, crossing his arms. Another self-important deity looking to be humbled. "I'm not sure," Goku replied, never taking his eyes off Ryujin. "But his energy feels older somehow. Different from the gods we've met." "Your perception is keen for one so limited," Ryujin said, inclining his head slightly. "I existed before your concept of divinity took shape. Before destruction and creation were divided among squabbling children playing at godhood." He closed his fingers slowly into a fist. "I am the original, the Dragon God." The dimensional tear widened further, and from it poured creatures that defied conventional description. Serpentine bodies with too many limbs, scales that phased between solid matter and pure energy, eyes that seemed to observe from multiple timelines simultaneously. They circled above the city, their movements creating patterns that hurt to follow. "Those look like dragons," Goku observed. "But not like Shenron or Purunga." "Cosmic dragons," Ryujin corrected. "My children, my extensions. They search for fragments of power scattered across realities." His gaze intensified. "One such fragment resides here. Within you, perhaps, or within this world's core. We shall extract it, regardless of the cost." One of the serpentine creatures descended toward the city below, its maw opening to reveal an impossible void. Buildings began to tremble, glass shattering as it passed overhead. Screams echoed from below as pedestrians fled in terror. Goku vanished, reappearing beneath the creature. With a shout, He unleashed a focused ki blast that disrupted the dragon's form, causing it to ripple and recoil. I won't let you harm these people. Vegeta launched himself toward another dragon, energy gathering in his palms. Gallic gun. The purple beam struck the creature, but passed through it as though it were made of smoke. The dragon reformed instantly, unharmed. Conventional energy attacks will not affect my children, Ryujin stated calmly. They exist partially outside your dimension. More tiers opened across the sky as additional dragons poured through. Within minutes, dozens circled above the city, creating a living storm of scaled bodies and ethereal energy. Kakarot, Vegeta shouted. We need to draw them away from the population. Goku nodded, firing a ki blast directly at Ryujin. The dragon god made no move to dodge or block, the energy simply vanished before making contact. As if it had entered a black hole centered on Ryujin's chest. Fascinating, Ryujin murmured. Your godly ki bears traces of true divinity, yet remains fundamentally flawed. Incomplete. He extended both arms. Let us see if you are indeed my vessel. Show me your full potential, Guardian. The air pressure intensified 1,000-fold. Goku felt his blue form struggling against an invisible force that seemed to compress his very atoms. Around him, reality buckled. Concrete cracked in intricate patterns, water rose from fountains in defiance of gravity, electricity arced between metallic surfaces unprompted. Goku gritted his teeth and pushed back, his aura expanding outward. Ultra Instinct. Silver-white energy replaced the blue as his hair shifted to quicksilver and his eyes took on the serene, focused emptiness of the technique. The autonomous movement of Ultra Instinct flowed through him as he weaved between two diving dragons, his body responding to attacks microseconds before they manifested. Yes, Ryujin whispered, genuine excitement coloring his telepathic voice. This technique approaches divinity, a shadow of true power. What followed was unlike any battle Goku had experienced before. The dragons attacked not just his body but the space around him, warping distances, accelerating and slowing time in localized pockets. Ultra Instinct allowed him to navigate the chaos. But even perfect reaction could not fully compensate for reality itself becoming unreliable. A dragon's tail, seemingly miles away, suddenly struck him from behind as space folded. Another dragon opened its maw and instead of energy, poured forth memories that weren't his own. Visions of worlds he'd never seen, beings he'd never encountered. The sensory overload momentarily disrupted his concentration. Vegeta fared worse, lacking the intuitive defense of Ultra Instinct. A dragon's breath engulfed him, leaving him frozen in temporal stasis, his aura suspended in crystalline stillness. Vegeta, Goku called out, trying to reach his friend. 3 dragons intercepted him, their bodies intertwining to form a barrier. He is merely paused, Ryujin explained. Time will resume for him when I wish it. The dragon god descended slowly until he hovered at Goku's level. You fight admirably, but without purpose. You cannot win against forces that predate your universe's physical laws. Maybe not, Goku acknowledged. His silver eyes narrowed in determination. But I'll still try. He gathered his energy, compressing it within his palm until it shimmered like a captured star. The Kamehameha formed not with the usual blue-white energy, but with the silver essence of Ultra Instinct infused within it. Kamehameha. The beam erupted from his hands, carrying concentrated godly ki directly toward Ryujin's chest. This time, the dragon god raised one hand. The energy beam struck an invisible barrier and shattered into countless fragments that reassembled into glowing draconic sigils hovering in the air around them. Primitive, yet elegant in its simplicity, Ryujin observed, examining the floating symbols. Your energy carries the seed of something greater. He closed his fist, and the sigils compressed into a single point of light. Let us see if you can be more than you are. The compressed energy shot back toward Goku with impossible speed, striking him directly in the center of his chest. But rather than damage, it triggered something else entirely, a resonance within his very cells. The point of light didn't explode, it imploded, pulling inward as though Goku himself had become the epicenter of a collapsing star. Pain unlike anything he'd experienced before coursed through him. Not the familiar agony of battle damage but something more fundamental, as though his DNA were being rewritten. His very essence reconfigured at the quantum level. What are you doing to me? He managed through clenched teeth. Nothing that was not already possible, Ryujin replied, watching with analytical interest. I am merely accelerating a process that might have taken eons naturally. The seed of divinity within you responds to my presence. The silver aura of Ultra Instinct fluctuated wildly, then began to change. Golden scales materialized within the energy field, spreading like a living constellation. Goku's eyes widened as he felt power beyond imagination oozing every fiber of his being. Not borrowed power like the spirit bomb, not transformed energy like his various Super Saiyan forms, but something that felt simultaneously foreign and intimately familiar. As though he were reconnecting with a part of himself he'd never known existed. Yes, Ryujin whispered, genuine awe in his telepathic voice. The vessel awakens. In a research facility on the outskirts of West City. Alarms blared as monitoring equipment overloaded. Screens cracked, data servers overheated, and complex measuring devices simply melted under the strain of processing the unprecedented energy readings emanating from downtown. Dr. Minerva Cassini yanked off her protective goggles, tossing them aside as she rushed between workstations, frantically trying to salvage data before systems completely failed. At 34, she was the youngest head of dimensional research West City University had ever appointed, known for her revolutionary theories on cross-dimensional energy signatures. Someone stabilize the quantum array, she shouted to her team of assistants, who scrambled to comply. Her voice carried the slight accent of North City, precise and clipped. We're losing petabytes of observation data. It's no use, Doctor. Called out her senior assistant, a young man desperately typing commands into a terminal. Whatever's happening downtown is completely off the charts. The dimensional membranes are fluctuating at rates we've never recorded. Minerva pushed her short, practical bob of auburn hair behind her ears and made a decision. Initiate emergency protocol Epsilon. Transfer all incoming data to the isolated quantum storage. Her green eyes narrowed as she studied the fractal patterns forming across her main display. And get me my field kit. You're not going out there? Her assistant asked incredulously. This is exactly what my research predicted, she replied, already pulling on her specialized field jacket lined with monitoring equipment. Dimensional convergence points creating localized reality distortions. Her fingers efficiently checked each instrument embedded in the garment. 14 years of theoretical work, and you expect me to watch it from a monitor? Without waiting for a response, she grabbed her tablet and specialized sensor array, heading for the door. The sky visible through the reinforced windows pulsed with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. Confirming her theories in the most spectacular and terrifying way possible. As she rushed to her modified vehicle, a compact terrain runner equipped with addition. AL scanning technology, her mind raced through calculations. Whatever was happening violated known physical laws, yet followed patterns she'd predicted in her controversial paper, Dimensional Nexus Poi. NTS and their theoretical impact on baseline reality. The vehicle hummed to life as she activated its electromagnetic shielding, her own design, created after studying the residual energy patterns from the Cell games years ago. She accelerated toward the city center, toward the impossible storm and the answers she'd sought since childhood. Since the day her family had vanished into thin air before her eyes. Leaving behind only distorted air and unexplainable energy readings that no one else had believed were real. The transformation continued, each moment stretching into what felt like eternity. Goku's consciousness expanded beyond his physical form, awareness extending outward like ripples in a cosmic pond. He could sense the fear of every citizen in West City, could feel the molecular composition of the air around him. Could perceive the quantum fluctuations in the fabric of reality that Ryujin's presence had triggered. His body changed too, golden scales manifested along his forearms. Not as armor but as if they had always been there, merely hidden beneath layers of mortality. His hair retained its spiky Saiyan quality but now shimmered with an inner light that shifted between gold, silver, and a deep emerald that had no equivalent in nature. His eyes transformed most dramatically, pupils elongating into draconic slits while the irises cycled through colors that corresponded to the 7 dragon balls. What's happening to me? Goku's voice carried new harmonics, resonating on multiple frequencies simultaneously. Recognition, Ryujin answered, circling him slowly. The dragon essence within you acknowledges its true nature. You are becoming what you were always meant to be. The cosmic dragons ceased their assault on the city, gathering instead in a great spiral around Goku and Ryujin. Their ethereal bodies forming a living vortex that stretched between dimensions. Through the haze of transformation, Goku glimpsed fragments of other realities, the sacred world of the Kais, New Namek. Even planet Sadala that should have been destroyed centuries ago. Somehow, he was perceiving across time and space without moving. I can see everything, he whispered. Merely the beginning, Ryujin assured him. Your perception will continue to expand. You will see beyond the physical, beyond energy, into the very patterns that compose existence itself. A new sensation interrupted the transformation, a pulling, as though something were attempting to siphon away the emerging power. Goku's newfound awareness traced the sensation to its source, Ryujin himself. Beneath he Dragon God's benevolent guidance lay predatory intent. You're trying to take this power, Goku realized, his voice strengthening with certainty. Ryujin's expression shifted subtly. I seek to reclaim what was always mine. The dragon essence scattered across realities belongs to me alone. Then why does it feel like it's part of me? Like it's always been part of me? Goku challenged, the transformation accelerating as his consciousness expanded further. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Ryujin's cosmic eyes. Impossible. You are merely a vessel, a temporary container for power you cannot possibly comprehend. But Goku did comprehend it, not through intellect but through instinct. The dragon essence responded to him not as an invader but as its rightful wielder. The golden scales spread further across his body, symbols appearing upon them in an ancient language he somehow understood without having learned it. No, Ryujin hissed, abandonment all pretense. The prophecy spoke of a vessel, not a usurper. He extended both hands, fingers contorting into arcane positions. I will extract what is mine by force if necessary. Energy tendrils shot from Ryujin's fingertips, piercing through Goku's transforming aura. Pain lanced through him as the dragon god attempted to forcibly extract the awakening power. But something unexpected happened. Rather than flowing outward toward Ryujin, the dragon essence surged deeper into Goku's being, integrating more completely with every cell, every atom, every quantum particle that constituted his existence. You're not reclaiming anything, Goku realized, his voice strengthening as understanding dawned. You're trying to steal something that was never yours. With newfound clarity, he perceived Ryujin's true nature, not the original dragon god as claimed, but a usurper himself, a being who had absorbed portions of dragon essence across countless realities, accumulating power that didn't rightfully belong to him. Goku raised one hand, now adorned with intricate scale patterns that pulsed with inner light. This ends now. The statement wasn't bravado or threat, simply truth spoken with absolute certainty. Ryujin's facade of calm shattered. You understand nothing. I have waited eons for this moment. Rage distorted his features as he summoned power that warped reality around them. I will not be denied by some mortal accident. The cosmic dragons responded to their master's fury, converging into a single massive entity that dwarfed even the tallest buildings below. This composite dragon opened its maw, unleashing a beam of concentrated dimensional energy directly at Goku. Time seemed to slow. Goku perceived the attack not merely as energy but as intent given form, the desperate gambit of a being who sensed his ambition slipping away. Without conscious thought, Goku extended his hand. The dragon essence within him responded naturally, as though he'd wielded such power his entire life. Dragon Shield, he said simply. The words emerging from some ancient memory now accessible to him. A barrier materialized, not energy in the conventional sense but a localized rewriting of physical law. The dimensional beam struck it and simply ceased to exist, its component patterns unraveled and dispersed harmlessly across multiple realities. Ryujin's expression shifted from rage to the first flickers of fear. What are you? Goku didn't answer immediately. The transformation had reached completion, leaving him changed in ways beyond physical appearance. Knowledge flowed through him, the true history of the dragon essence, its purpose. The prophecy that had been distorted through Ryujin's lies. I am what you pretended to be, Goku finally answered, his voice carrying both compassion and resolute judgment. The dragon essence chose me, not as its vessel, but as its guardian. He ascended higher, the golden scaled aura expanding around him. You've abused fragments of this power across countless worlds, Ryujin. That ends today. You cannot defeat me, Ryujin snarled, gathering dark energy between his palms. I have consumed dragon essence for millennia. I have devoured entire realities. I don't need to defeat you. Goku replied with surprising gentleness. I need to heal you. He raised both hands, and 7 points of light manifested around him, each corresponding to one of Earth's Dragon Balls. But radiating power that transcended even Shenron's capabilities. Dragon Restoration, Goku intoned. The 7 lights shot toward Ryujin, who attempted to evade but found himself unable to move. The lights penetrated his form, and immediately his body began to change, the stolen dragon essence extracting itself from his being, returning to its natural state. No, Ryujin's scream echoed across dimensions as his form diminished. Scales flaking away, cosmic eyes dimming to reveal what lay beneath, a much smaller being, humanoid but ancient, wizened by eons of existence. The extracted essence varied around them momentarily before flowing back toward the dimensional tiers, returning to the worlds from which it had been stolen. The cosmic dragons followed, their forms dissipating as they passed through the rifts. Ryujin collapsed to his knees in midair, diminished yet somehow unburdened. How? He whispered, looking up at Goku with eyes now normal, tired, ancient, but cleared of madness. How did you know? I didn't, Goku admitted, descending to hover before him. The dragon essence showed me. You weren't meant to control it, none of us are. We're meant to protect it, to maintain balance. The former dragon god's shoulders slumped in defeat. I was the first chosen guardian, eons ago. But the power, it showed me such wonders, such possibilities. His voice cracked with the weight of confession. I convinced myself I deserved more than guardianship. And now? Goku asked. Now I am empty, Ryujin replied, a single tear tracing down his ancient face. Yet somehow, lighter, the dimensional rifts began closing naturally, reality stabilizing around them. Vegeta unfroze as temporal normality reasserted itself, looking around in confusion at the changed circumstances. What happened, Kakarot? He demanded, taking in Goku's transformed appearance with wide eyes. What are you? Before Goku could answer, a new presence made itself known, a sharp, focused mind approaching rapidly from the city outskirts. His expanded awareness identified a vehicle moving against the flow of evacuating citizens, heading directly toward them. Minerva Cassini had never seen readings like these. Her vehicle's sensors were registering energy patterns that shouldn't be possible, dimensional frequencies overlapping in configurations that defied established physics. Her modified windshield D, ice-blade augmented reality overlays showing radiation types, spacetime distortions, and quantum fluctuations occurring throughout the affected area. Unbelievable, she whispered, eyes darting between the road and her instruments. The patterns matched her theoretical models with 98.7% accuracy, vindication of research that had been dismissed as fringe science by her peers for years. As she approached the city center, the dimensional disturbances began to stabilize. The tiers in reality closed one by one, the impossible storm dissipating. But her sensors still detected an unprecedented power source hovering above the central plaza. She parked her vehicle at the edge of the evacuation zone and continued on foot, her jacket's embedded instruments recording everything. Civilians rushed past her in the opposite direction, but she barely noticed them, focused entirely on the readings that grew stronger with each step. When she finally reached the plaza, she looked up to see 2 figures hovering in the air. One she recognized as Vegeta, the Saiyan prince who had become something of a celebrity after the Tournament of Power. The other, her breath caught in her throat. The being before her defied categorization, humanoid but adorned with golden scales that seemed to shift and ripple with inner light. His hair moved as though underwater, shimmering with colors her eyes struggled to process. But it was his eyes that transfixed her, pupils shaped like a dragon's, irises cycling through 7 distinct colors in sequence. Extraordinary, she whispered, her scientific mind racing to catalog every detail while instruments silently recorded data beyond human perception. The transformed being, she assumed this must be the legendary Goku, turned to look directly at her. Despite the distance between them, she felt as though he stood right before her, examining her with gentle curiosity. You're not running away, his voice carried easily despite the distance, containing harmonics that made her skin tingle. Minerva straightened her posture, professional instinct taking over despite her awe. Dr. Minerva Cassini, Director of Dimensional Research at West City University. She gestured to her equipment. I've been theorizing about dimensional convergence points for 14 years. I wasn't about to miss the first confirmed case. A small smile played across his transformed features. Brave and smart. That's a dangerous combination. Before she could respond, the diminished figure beside him, humanoid but clearly not human, with skin bearing faded markings that resembled ancient texts, spoke in a voice that sounded like dry leaves rustling. The transformation is complete, yet you retain your mortal perspective. The being studied Goku with scholarly interest. Fascinating. Previo. As ascensions resulted in complete dissociation from mortal concerns. Previous ascensions. Minerva couldn't help interjecting, her curiosity overriding caution. You mean this has happened before? The ancient being turned to her, surprise evident on his wizened features. A mortal who asks the right questions. Another anomaly. He inclined his head slightly. Yes, scholar. The dragon god mantle, has been passed 7 times across the multiverse's history. Though never before to a being with such unusual origins. Goku descended slowly until his feet touched the ground before Minerva. Up close, his transformation was even more remarkable. The scales along his forearms formed patterns that seemed to tell stories, changing subtly as she watched. I can sense your curiosity, he said, his voice somehow both powerful and gentle simultaneously. You've been searching for answers about dimensional phenomena for a long time. She blinked in surprise. How could you know that? I can see patterns now, he explained, gesturing vaguely toward his transformed eyes. Connections between people, events, timelines. Your family disappeared through a dimensional rift when you were a child, didn't they? The question struck her like a physical blow. No one knew that detail. She had carefully excised it from all official records of her research motivation, presenting her work as pure theoret. Interest to avoid the stigma of personal trauma driving scientific inquiry. How could you possibly know that? She whispered, professional detachment momentarily shattered. Because I can see where they went, he replied, compassion evident in his multi-hued eyes. And with time, I might be able to help you find them. The next hours passed in a blur of explanations and revelations. The diminished being, who introduced himself simply as Ryujin, provided context for what had occurred. The true nature of the dragon essence that powered artifacts like the Dragon Balls, its origin as a fundamental force of balance in the multiverse. And the ancient prophecy that had foretold a new guardian arising when dimensional stability reached a critical threshold. The Dragon Balls across various LDS are merely physical manifestations, anchors for the essence to interact with mortal realms, Ryujin explained as they gathered in Minerva's research facility, which had been hastily converted into a command center. They were never meant to grant wishes as such, but to allow controlled manipulation of reality for maintaining cosmic balance. Vegeta leaned against a wall, arms crossed skeptically. Then why do they grant whatever foolish wishes people make? Corruption of purpose, Ryujin sighed. My doing, I fear. As I began siphoning essence for my own power, the remaining fragments adapted, becoming more accessible to mortal intent as a defensive measure. The essence sought to distribute itself rather than be consumed. Goku stood by the facility's large windows, watching the city as emergency services addressed the minimal damage from the dimensional incursion. His transformation remained, though modulated, the scales less prominent, his hair settled into a deep emerald hue with golden highlights. His eyes still draconic but now a steady amber color. I can feel them, he said softly. All the Dragon Balls across different worlds. They're like heartbeats in the distance. Minerva monitored her equipment, which struggled to quantify the energy Goku now emanated. Your power signature doesn't match anything in our databases. It's not key as we understand it, not God key either. Her fingers danced across her tablet, analyzing incoming data. It's as though you're channeling the fundamental forces that shape reality itself. That is precisely what he does now, a new voice announced from the doorway. Everyone turned to see a woman unlike any they'd encountered before. Tall and imposingly regal, with skin the color of burnished bronze and hair that resembled a night sky complete with tiny points of light like stars. Her clothing consisted of flowing robes that seemed woven from time itself, shifting between past, present and future states as she moved. Setsuna, Ryujin acknowledged with evident surprise. I didn't expect the Chronos Guard to notice so quickly. A new dragon god emerges and you thought we wouldn't notice. The woman's voice carried formal authority tempered with dry amusement. The time stream has been resonating with change harmonics since the transformation began. Her gaze fixed on Goku, assessing. You have disrupted 17 critical timelines already, Guardian. Simply by existing. Is that bad? Goku asked, scratching his head in a gesture jarringly at odds with his divine appearance. The woman's severe expression faltered momentarily, replaced by brief confusion. You truly don't know. She glanced at Ryujin. You ascended a neophyte, without preparation. I didn't ascend him, Ryujin clarified. If anything, he ascended despite my efforts. A hint of his earlier bitterness colored his tone. The essence chose him directly. Setsuna turned her attention back to Goku, circling him slowly. The air around her shimmered with temporal distortion, creating afterimages that moved both faster and slower than her physical form. Fascinating, she murmured. You retain your original personality matrix despite the transformation. Previous ascensions resulted in the mortal consciousness being subsumed by the dragon essence. Maybe because I'm used to transformations. Goku suggested with characteristic simplicity. Quote, my body and mind have adapted to Super Saiyan forms, Ultra Instinct. This feels different but not completely unfamiliar. The Time Guardian stopped her inspection, standing directly before him. You don't understand what you've become. Do you? She extended one hand, palm up, generating a miniature model of the multiverse, countless tiny galaxies and dimension planes interconnected by threads of light. The dragon god doesn't merely wield power, he maintains fundamental equilibrium across all realities. Without active management, entire universes collapse into chaos. Goku studied the model, his draconic eyes reflecting the miniature cosmos. So I have to, what? Balance things. Your instincts will guide you, Ryujin interjected. The essence knows what requires attention. You will feel disruptions as they occur. Dimensional tears, timeline fractures, reality corruption. Which brings me to why I'm here, Setsuna said, dismissing the cosmic model with a wave. Your ascension has Eated temporal anomalies that require immediate attention. She fixed Goku with an imperious stare. You must come with me to the Chronos Sanctum for proper instruction before you inadvertently cause further damage. Hold on. Minerva stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding any sense of intimidation. You're talking about removing him from our dimension when we've barely begun to understand what's happened. She gestured to her instruments. The data we could gather. As irrelevant compared to multiversal stability, Setsuna cut her off. Your scientific curiosity, while admirable, is microscopic in context. Goku raised a hand, surprisingly authoritative. I'm not going anywhere yet. His voice carried new resonance, the dragon essence responding to his assertion. People here were affected by what happened. I need to make sure Earth is safe first. Setsuna's eyes narrowed. You would defy the Chronos Guard. Even Ryujin respected our authority in temporal matters. I'm not defying anything, Goku replied with disarming honesty. I just want to understand what I've become before I start hopping between dimensions. Plus, he added with a glimpse of his old grin, I'm hungry. The Time Guardian's composed facade cracked slightly, genuine bewilderment crossing her features. Hungry. You've ascended beyond mortal requirements. The dragon essence sustains itself through cosmic energy. Maybe, Goku acknowledged, but I still want food. Vegeta snorted from his position against the wall. Some things never change, regardless of divine transformation. Minerva Sue, Eldent suppress a smile at the incongruous image, a being of godlike power and majesty expressing such a mundane desire. It humanized him despite the transformation, making the impossible situation somehow more comprehensible. Setsuna looked from face to face, clearly unused to having her authority questioned. After a moment of internal debate, her shoulders relaxed marginally. Very well, I will allow 24 hours for adjustment. Her tone suggested this was an unprecedented concession. But then you must come to the sanctum. Time fractures grow exponentially if left unaddressed. I appreciate that, Goku said with genuine gratitude. And I promise I'll take this responsibility seriously. As if on cue, a new dimensional tear opened at the far end of the laboratory, smaller than though. Say from earlier but unmistakable in its nature. Unlike the metallic, reflective quality of Ryujin's rifts, this one glowed with warm golden light. What now? Vegeta demanded, pushing away from the wall and assuming a defensive stance. Not a threat, Ryujin said, studying the tear with academic interest. A response to the ascension. Through the dimensional opening stepped a woman unlike any present had seen before. Her appearance combined human features with subtle draconic elements, small golden scales accentuating her temples and cheekbones, amber eyes with slightly elongated pupils, and hair the color of burnished copper that moved as though possessed of its own life force. She wore armor that appeared to be crafted from a single piece of material resembling dragon bone, intricate yet flexible. Upon seeing Goku, she immediately dropped to one knee, head bowed in formal reverence. "My Lord Dragon God," she intoned in a voice musical yet strong. "The Dragon Clan has felt your awakening across dimensions. I am Keita, last daughter of the Guardian lineage, come to pledge my service as foretold in the ancient covenant." Goku looked thoroughly uncomfortable with the gesture. Please stand up. I'm not really the, my lord, type." Keita rose smoothly, studying his face with intense focus. "You are not what I expected." Her formal tone carried a hint of uncertainty. The prop, Hesies spoke of a being of terrible majesty and detached wisdom. "Sorry to disappoint," Goku replied with disarming honesty. "I did not say I was disappointed," Keita clarified, her expression softening slightly. "Merely surprised." She straightened her posture, resuming her formal demeanor. "Regardless, I am oath-bound to serve as your interpreter and guardian liaison to the mortal realms. My ancestors have maintained our lineage for 10,000 years awaiting this day." "Your ancestors knew this would happen?" Minerva asked, scientific curiosity piqued. Keita glanced at her, assessing the human woman with a quick, practiced eye. "The Dragon Clan has safeguarded the prophecy since the last dragon god sacrificed himself to seal the void breach." Her hand moved to a ceremonial dagger at her hip, its hilt adorned with symbols matching those now appearing on Goku's transformed skin. "We have prepared for this moment across countless generations." "Prepared how, exactly?" Vegeta asked suspiciously. "Through training, meditation, genetic cultivation, and dimensional attunement," Keita replied without hesitation. "My bloodline has been selectively enhanced to withstand Dragon Essence P. Roxamati and interpret the ancient language." She returned her attention to Goku. "I am to be your voice when the Dragon Essence overwhelms your mortal consciousness, your anchor when reality becomes too fluid to navigate alone." "That's very dedicated of your family," Goku said, clearly unsure how to respond to such devotion from a stranger. "But I don't think I need an interpreter. I understand the essence pretty well so far." "Because you have not yet attempted to use your power in earnest," Setsuna interjected. "When you begin actively maintaining dimensional boundaries, you will understand why interpreters were necessary for previous dragon gods." A look of concern crossed Goku's transformed features. "What happens when I use the power?" "The dragon essence perceives reality differently than mortal consciousness," Ryujin explained, his ancient voice carrying the weight of experience. "When wielding the full scope of your abilities, communication becomes challenging. Concepts replace words. Patterns replace linear thought. The Dragon Clan evolved specifically to bridge this gap," Keita added. "We perceive both reality frameworks simultaneously." Goku absorbed this information silently, his expression thoughtful, a stark contrast to his usual impulsiveness. The transformation seemed to have granted him greater patience along with power. "We're getting ahead of ourselves," he finally said. "Before I worry about using these powers or fixing timelines, I need to understand what happened today." He turned to Ryujin. "You came here looking for something. The vessel, you called it. But it seems like you weren't expecting me specifically. What exactly were you searching for?" The diminished former dragon god sighed heavily. "The prophecy speaks of a vessel in which he scattered dragon essence would recombine, a being capable of withstanding the full power without being consumed by it." His ancient eyes studied Goku with lingering bitterness. "I believed myself to be that vessel. Having absorbed fragments for millennia, I sought Earth's Dragon Balls as the final components. But instead, the essence recognized Goku as its true guardian," Minerva concluded. "Our analytical mind assembling the narrative. Why him specifically?" That remains unclear, Setsuna acknowledged, her temporal awareness searching potential pasts without finding definitive answers. Quote, his unique genetic makeup as a Saiyan raised on Earth. His repeated exposure to divine energy. His experience with Ultra Instinct. Perhaps a combination of factors created the perfect vessel. Or perhaps choice, Keita suggested quietly. The dragon essence is semi-sentient. It may have recognized qualities beyond physical capability. Goku's stomach chose that moment to growl audibly, the sound jarringly mundane amidst cosmic discussion. He grinned sheepishly. Sorry, but can we continue this over food? Even with all this new awareness, I'm still starving. Setsuna's expression suggested she had never encountered a more perplexing divine entity in all her centuries of existence. The fate of multiple dimensions hangs in balance, and you wish to pause for sustenance. I think better when I'm not hungry, Goku replied simply. And if I'm going to learn how to be this dragon god properly, I should be at my best, right? The Time Guardian opened her mouth to object further, then closed it with a resigned sigh. 23 hours and counting, she reminded him instead. The unlikely gathering relocated to the Capsule Corporation compound at Bulma's insistence after being briefed on the situation. With characteristic adaptability, she had organized a feast that would satisfy even Goku's legendary appetite while providing suitable accommodations for their interdimensional visitors. So let me get this straight, Bulma said as she set another platter before Goku, who ate with enthusiasm despite his transformation. You're now basically the god of all dragons everywhere, responsible for keeping reality from falling apart. That's the simplified version, Setsuna confirmed, declining food but accepting tea served in Bulma's finest cup. And you need to learn how to use SA powers properly or bad things happen to the multiverse, Bulma continued, hands on hips as she processed the information. Which means you'll be traveling between dimensions. Goku paused between bites, his expression becoming serious. I don't know how long I'll need to be gone, Bulma. From what they've told me, this responsibility is bigger than anything I've faced before. Bigger than Beerus? Bigger than Jiren? Bulma asked with characteristic directness. Different, Keita interjected, sampling Earth food with cautious curiosity. Those were external threats. This is a fundamental cosmic role. She observed Goku with professional assessment. The dragon god doesn't merely fight enemies, he maintains the fabric of existence itself. Minerva, who had been granted access to the gathering due to her scientific expertise, spoke up from where she had been quietly taking notes. The dimensional readings have been gathering suggest that Goku's transformation has already begun stabilizing reality fractures across our universe. His mere existence is having a healing effect on space-time. Which means, Ryujin added, that his absence from any single dimension for too long could allow instability to develop. The dragon god must remain in motion, addressing critical issues across the multiverse as they arise. The implications settled heavily over the group. Vegeta, who had remained characteristically withdrawn throughout much of the discussion, finally spoke. So Kakarot becomes even more special, he observed with complex emotion, part resignation, part pride, part lingering competitiveness. Surpassing even the gods of destruction in cosmic hierarchy. The divine structure is more complex than simple hierarchy, Setsuna corrected. Gods of destruction maintain balance within universes through controlled elimination. Supreme Kais create, angels observe and guide. The dragon god maintains the boundaries between these systems, ensuring they remain distinct yet harmonious. Goku finished his meal, the draconic features of his transformation becoming more pronounced as his energy replenished. I never asked for this power, he said quietly. But I won't run from the responsibility. No one worthy ever asks for power, Keita responded, her formal manner softening slightly. It is thrust upon them precisely because they do not seek it. Minerva, who had been analyzing data throughout the conversation, suddenly straightened. There's something happening. She turned her tablet to display rapid fluctuations in dimensional energy. A new distortion is forming, but unlike the tears from earlier. This seems targeted. Setsuna immediately rose, her temporal awareness extending outward. Void energy, she announced, alarm clear in her normally composed voice. The ascension of a new dragon god has drawn attention from beyond the dimensional boundaries. The Void Collective, Ryujin whispered, ancient fear etching deeper lines into his already aged face. They sensed the dragon essence gathered in one vessel. Before anyone could request clarification, reality rippled around them. The comfortable surroundings of Capsule Corporation distorted like an image reflected in turbulent water. Through this distortion emerged a presence that defied conventional perception, not a physical entity but a conceptual intrusion forcing itself into material reality. It manifested as an absence rather than a presence, a humanoid silhouette composed of anti-light that pulled illumination into itself. Its voice, when it spoke, bypassed ears entirely to resonate directly within minds. New Guardian detected. Classification: incomplete. Potential: significant. Vulnerability: present. Goku rose immediately, dragon essence responding to the threat before his conscious mind fully processed it. Golden scales spread further across his skin as his power flared defensively. "What are you?" he demanded, instinctively positioning himself between the entity and the others. "We are observation. We are collection. We are void." The being's form shifted constantly, struggling to maintain coherence in normal reality. "Your ascension creates opportunity. Dimensional barriers weakened during transition." Keita moved to Goku's side, her hand on her ceremonial dagger. "Void Collective Scout," she explained rapidly. "They exist beyond conventional dimensions, seeking entry points into our reality. They consume energy, particularly dragon essence." Correct assessment. Primitive understanding. The void entity expanded slightly, darkness spreading outward. New Guardian untrained. Essence vulnerable. Collection opportunity optimal. Setsuna stepped forward, temporal energy gathering around her hands. "You violate the Chronos Accord, void entity. Return to your domain or face sanction." Chronos Accord applicable to stabilized dimensions only. Current dimensional status: transitional. Jurisdiction: contested. Goku felt the dragon essence responding to the threat, knowledge flowing into his consciousness. The Void Collective: entities from a dimension of anti-energy that fed upon dimensional boundaries. Ancient enemies of the Dragon God, sealed away eons ago but always seeking entry points. "I may be new at this," Goku said, his voice resonating with newfound authority, "but I understand enough to know you don't belong here." Acting on instinct guided by the essence, he extended one hand. Reality solidified around them as he unconsciously strengthened the dimensional boundaries. The void entity's form compressed, forced into more concrete manifestation. Resistance noted. Capacity exceeds preliminary assessment. The being's mental voice took on a note of surprise. Tactical withdrawal indicated. "You're not going anywhere," Goku stated with uncharacteristic firmness. His eyes blazed with draconic power as he made a grasping motion. "First, you're going to tell us what the Void Collective is planning." To everyone's surprise, the entity Fu ND itself unable to retreat, caught in a dimensional pocket created instinctively by Goku's new abilities. Unexpected containment. Probability: impossible. Conclusion: dragon essence integration more advanced than apparent. The being's form fluctuated frantically. Information exchange proposed. Release for intelligence. "Start talking," Goku demanded. Void Collective seeks dimensional merge. Dragon essence: key component. New Guardian: potential access point. The entity's communication became more fragmented as it struggled against the containment. Incomplete ascension detected. Vulnerability window closing. Primary incursion imminent. Primary incursion. Minerva questioned, her scientific curiosity overriding fear. "You mean more of you are coming?" "Correct." Scout function: assessment only. Collection squad: dispatched. Arrival: imminent. Setsuna's expression darkened. "It speaks the truth. I sense temporal disturbances forming at 17 points globally. Their attempt ing a coordinated breach while the dimensional barriers remain in flux from your ascension." Goku turned to the group, decision made. "I need to stop them before they enter fully." His transformed features settled into determined resolve. "Ryujin, your knowledge might help. Will you assist me?" The former dragon god straightened, purpose replacing resignation. "My power is diminished, but my knowledge remains intact. I will guide you as best I can." "Keita, you said you're trained to help me use these powers. Now's the time to prove it." The Dragon Clan warrior nodded sharply. "I live to serve the dragon god. I'll monitor the dimensional fluctuations from here," Minerva offered, already adjusting her equipment. I can track breach points and prioritize them based on instability factors. I shall coordinate with the Chronos Guard, Setsuna stated. They can reinforce dimensional boundaries from the temporal side. Goku looked at Vegeta, who smirked in anticipation. You don't even need to ask, Kakarot. Whatever these void creatures are, they'll learn to fear Saiyan power alongside dragon power. Bulma. Goku began. Already on it, she interrupted, activating a hidden panel that revealed advanced monitoring equipment. I'll coordinate with Earth's defenses and keep everyone here safe. The void entity observed this rapid organization with what seemed like growing concern. Cooperation efficiency. Unprecedented. Reassessment required. Warning transmission. Goku tightened the dimensional pocket, cutting off the entity's communication. No warnings to your friends. His eyes narrowed, draconic pupils contracting to thin slits. You're staying right here until this is over. With newfound confidence born of necessity, Goku extended his awareness outward, perceiving the 17 incursion points Setsuna had mentioned. The dragon essence responded eagerly, as though relieved to be directed with purpose rather than simply contained. I can feel them, he said, golden scales glowing brighter across his transformed body. Let's go. In that moment, despite the looming threat and uncertain future, Goku experienced something unexpected, a sense of rightness. As though he dragon essence hadn't merely changed him but completed him in some fundamental way he hadn't known was unfinished. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them not just as Goku the Saiyan, but as something new yet familiar. The Dragon God awakened at last. Chapter 2. Trials of Divinity. The Dragon Realm defied mortal comprehension. Unlike the solid reality of Earth or even the strange physics of the sacred world of the Kais. This dimension existed as pure potential, a place where thought shaped substance and desire carved pathways through formless energy. Colors unknown to human eyes pain. Landscapes that transformed with each passing moment. Crystalline structures floated among clouds that resembled dragons in eternal flight, their scales reflecting light that had no visible source. Goku stood at the center of a vast platform formed from what appeared to be solidified golden energy, his transformed body resonating with the environment around him. 3 days had passed since the confrontation with the void entity, 3 days of intensive preparation and training for what lay ahead. The 17 incursion points had been temporarily sealed through a combination of Goku's instinctive use of dragon essence, Setsuna's temporal reinforcements, and Kata's ritual knowledge. But all understood these measures were temporary at best. The boundaries will hold for perhaps another 48 hours, Setsuna explained. Her temporal form more substantial here in the Dragon Realm than it had appeared on Earth. The stars in her hair glowed brighter, and her movements left afterimages that persisted for several seconds. After that, the Void Collective will adjust their approach. Kata knelt nearby, arranging crystalline fragments into patterns that corresponded to the draconic markings on Goku's transformed skin. The ancient texts speak of 3 trials every dragon god must complete to fully integrate with the essence, she explained, her formal tone softened slightly after days of working alongside Goku. Without this integration, your powers remain limited to instinctive responses rather than conscious direction. Goku nodded, his attention divided between her explanation and the strange sensations flooding his awareness. In the Dragon Realm, his perceptions expanded exponentially. He could feel the heartbeat of distant worlds, taste the emotional resonance of beings he'd never met. Sense the delicate balance between creation and destruction across countless realities. These trials, he asked, his voice carrying harmonics that made the platform beneath them vibrate subtly. What exactly do they involve? Ryujin, who had accompanied them despite his diminished state, stepped forward. His ancient form seemed rejuvenated somewhat in this realm, the faded markings on his skin glowing with renewed, if modest, energy. The trials are not fixed challenges but reflections of the essence itself, tests of wisdom, compassion, and strength. Each dragon god faces them differently depending on their nature. That's not very specific, Goku observed with a hint of his old straightforwardness. Specificity is impossible, Setsuna interjected, because the trials manifest according to your own subconscious. They challenge not your abilities but your limitations, the boundaries that prevent complete integration with the dragon essence. Minerva, who had I stood on accompanying the group despite the dangers of interdimensional travel for ordinary humans, monitored equipment she'd hastily modified for the Dragon Realm's unique physics. Her pragmatic approach, provided a welcome counterbalance to the mysticism of the others. From what I can measure, she said, studying readings on her tablet, Goku's current integration is approximately 47% complete. The transformation established an initial connection, but true symbiosis remains unachieved. She looked up, meeting his draconic eyes without flinching. In simple terms, you're operating on instinct rather than mastery. Which leaves both you and countless dimensions vulnerable, Keita concluded, rising gracefully from her kneeling position. The pattern she'd created began to glow, each crystal resonating with corresponding markings on Goku's transformed body. We must begin the trials without further delay. Goku rolled his shoulders, a gesture oddly mundane for a being of his current power. Despite the transformation, traces of his fundamental nature remained: his preference for direct action, his eagerness for challenge, his unwavering determination. So how do we start? He asked. Ujin gestured toward the endless expanse surrounding their platform. The Dragon Realm responds to the Dragon God's intent. To begin the first trial, you need only desire it. Goku closed his eyes, using on the concept as he understood it. A test of wisdom, a challenge of mind rather than body. Something to help him understand the vastness of what he'd become. The realm responded immediately. The platform beneath them expanded, crystalline structures rising from its surface to form intricate patterns. The formless energy of the dimension condensed around them, reality solidifying into a vast labyrinth that stretched beyond sight in all directions. Unlike conventional mazes, this one seemed alive, corridors shifting, pathways realigning themselves, walls transparent one moment and solid the next. The labyrinth of cognition, Ryujin whispered, awe evident in his ancient voice. I've only read of it in the oldest texts. Keita studied the formation with professional assessment. The TRIAL has manifested as a thought-responsive maze. Its configuration will change according to your mental patterns. That sounds complicated, Goku admitted, examining the nearest corridor. It is precisely as complex as your own mind, Setsuna observed with a hint of curiosity. Which makes this manifestation particularly interesting. Minerva's scientific interest overwhelmed her caution as she approached the labyrinth entrance. Fascinating. A physical representation of neural pathways. Or perhaps quantum thought patterns translated into macro-scale architecture. Both and neither, Ryujin replied enigmatically. The Dragon Realm transcends such distinctions. Goku stepped toward the entrance, golden scales shimmering in response to the labyrinth's energy. Do I go alone? We cannot accompany you physically. Keita explained, but I can establish a connection through the dragon essence to provide guidance. She removed her ceremonial dagger, the symbols on its hilt glowing in sequence with the patterns on Goku's skin. With your permission, my lord. Goku's expression flickered with momentary discomfort at the formality, but he nodded agreement. Just call me Goku, please. A small smile touched Keita's lips, the first crack in her formal demeanor. As you wish, Goku. She pressed the flat of the blade against her palm, drawing a thin line of blood that glowed with internal light. Before anyone could react, she reached forward and placed her bloodied palm against Goku's chest, directly over his heart. The contact created an immediate resonance, her blood absorbed into his scales, leaving no trace but establishing a connection evident in the synchronized glow that pulsed between her temples and his draconic eyes. I'll monitor your vital signs and dimensional stability from here, Minerva added, adjusting her equipment. If anything goes wrong, we'll find a way to extract you. Goku nodded, determination settling over his transformed features. Without further hesitation, he stepped into the labyrinth. The entrance sealed behind him, crystal walls shifting to eliminate the pathway back. Inside the labyrinth, reality operated by different rules. The corridors seemed simultaneously vast and claustrophobic, dimensions shifting based on Goku's perception. When he focused on the path ahead, it stretched endlessly. When his attention wandered, walls closed in from peripheral awareness. This is definitely strange, he muttered to himself, his voice echoing in ways that defied acoustic principles. The labyrinth responds to your thought patterns, Keita's voice resonated directly in his mind through their established connection. Undisciplined thinking creates chaos in the pathways. So I need to, what? Think more clearly, Goku asked, watching as the corridor twisted in response to his question. Focus on your objective, she suggested. What does wisdom mean to you? Goku considered this as he navigated a junction where three identical paths converged. I've never really thought of myself as wise, he admitted. Smart fighters like Piccolo or Vegeta usually handle the strategic thinking. The labyrinth responded to this self-assessment. All three paths suddenly terminated in solid walls. Interesting, Keita observed. The labyrinth rejects your self-limitation. Goku approached one of the walls, examining its crystalline surface. Within the seemingly solid barrier, he could see images from his past, battles where instinct had guided him to solutions others hadn't seen. Moments where his unique perspective had revealed truths hidden from more conventional thinkers. Maybe wisdom isn't always about complex strategies, he reflected, touching the wall gently. Sometimes it's about seeing clearly what's right in front of you. The crystalline barrier dissolved at his touch, revealing a new pathway forward. The dragon essence responds to your understanding, Keita confirmed. Continue exploring this realization. As Goku proceeded deeper into the labyrinth, each junction presented similar challenges, manifestations of his own doubts and self-perceptions that required recognition and reconsideration. The paths twisted through impossible geometries, occasionally opening into vast chambers where fragments of cosmic knowledge hovered in crystallized form. In one such chamber, Goku encountered a spherical crystal containing what appeared to be an entire galaxy in miniature. As he approached, the stellar formation responded, configurations shifting to match his thoughts. The dragon essence lets me see patterns, he observed, watching stars realign as he contemplated them. Not just fighting patterns, but everything. How things connect, how balance works across different scales. The galaxy model expanded, individual solar systems becoming visible, then planets. Then the interconnected web of life on those worlds. Goku perceived the delicate balance maintaining each ecosystem, the cosmic forces preserving orbital stability, the fundamental energies binding matter into coherent forms. It's all connected, he whispered in genuine wonder. And as Dragon God, I'm connected to all of it. The chamber responded to this revelation, the crystalline walls pulsing with golden light that synchronized with the scales on his transformed body. A pathway opened, leading deeper into the labyrinth's core. You begin to understand, Keita communicated, her mental voice tinged with approval. The Dragon God doesn't simply possess power, he perceives the interconnections that sustain reality itself. Goku continued forward, each step bringing new awareness. The labyrinth's shifting nature began to make sense not as chaos but as adaptation, reality responding to perception just as the dragon essence responded to his will. He found himself able to anticipate changes, to understand the logic behind the seemingly random transformations of his environment. At the labyrinth's center, he discovered a chamber unlike any before, a perfect sphere. Whose inner surface reflected not his physical form but his consciousness itself. Countless versions of Goku stared back at him from the crystalline walls, the carefree child who embarked on adventures with Bulma. The determined young man who faced Piccolo in the World Tournament, the father who sacrificed himself against Cell, the warrior who transcended mortal limitations against Jiren. And beyond these familiar iterations, versions he'd never experienced, Goku is Supreme Kai, Goku is Destroyer, Goku is Mortal, Goku is Pure Energy. Possibilities and potentialities across infinite timelines. What is this? He asked aloud. The Chamber of Reflection, Keita explained. It shows the many facets of your being across all potential realities. In the center of the chamber floated a single crystal, different from all others, shaped like a dragon ball but transparent, containing what appeared to be a miniature dragon coiled in slumber. That's part of me, isn't it? Goku sensed the connection. Immediately, this crystallized dragon represented his dormant potential as Dragon God. The final key to the trial of wisdom, Keita confirmed. To claim it, you must understand its nature completely. Goku approached slowly, studying the crystal from all angles. The dragon within mirrored his movements, responding to his attention while remaining contained. He realized with sudden clarity that this presented his current relationship with the dragon essence, connected but separated, aware but not integrated. It's not about controlling the power, he said aloud, understanding dawning. It's about becoming one with it. Not Goku using dragon essence, but Goku and the essence as a single entity. The crystal responded, its surface growing translucent. The miniature dragon within uncurled slightly, awareness evident in its tiny eyes. The wisdom isn't in having all the answers, Goku continued, reaching toward the crystal. It's in asking the right questions. In seeing clearly rather than seeing everything. As his fingers touched the crystal's surface, it dissolved completely. The miniature dragon emerged, circling his wrist before sinking into his scales. Immediately, the draconic markings on his body glowed brighter, patterns expanding to cover more of his form. The chamber of reflection responded to the integration, the countless reflections of himself merging into a singular image, Goku as Dragon God. Fully conscious of his nature and potential. The trial of wisdom is complete, Kata's voice carried unmistakable respect. You have achieved the first integration. The labyrinth began to dissolve around him. Reality returning to the formless potential of the dragon realm. Goku felt the change immediately, his awareness sharpened, perceptions expanding beyond previous limitations. The dragon essence responded more fluidly to his consciousness, no longer separate but harmonized. As he emerged from the fading labyrinth, he saw his companions waiting on the platform. Ryujin's ancient eyes widened in surprise. Setsuna's temporal form stabilized as though his presence anchored her more firmly in current reality, and Minerva's instruments sparked with excess energy they couldn't properly measure. 58% integration, Minerva announced, checking her readings with scientific precision. A significant improvement. Kata approached, the connection between them ill-evident in the synchronized glow of their draconic markings. You completed the trial faster than any recorded predecessor, she stated, formal tone barely concealing admiration. How long was I in there? Goku asked, surprised by their reactions. 3 minutes and 17 seconds in objective time, Setsuna replied. Though subjectively, I suspect you experienced much longer. Goku nodded, recalling the seemingly endless exploration of the labyrinth. It felt like days. Time flows differently in cognitive spaces, Ryujin explained. What matters is the understanding gained, not the duration required. Before further discussion could occur, the platform beneath them trembled. The formless energy of the dragon realm darkened at its edges, swirling patterns disrupted by something intrusive. We have a problem, Setsuna announced, temporal awareness extending outward. Someone has followed our dimensional signature to the dragon realm. Void Collective? Kata asked sharply, hand moving to her ceremonial dagger. No, Setsuna replied, expression darkening. Something else. Someone with specific intent focused on. She didn't complete the statement before reality fractured 20 feet from their position. Unlike the gentle transitions native to the dragon realm, this dimensional breach tore through the fabric of space with violent precision, a calculated incision rather than natural emergence. Through this wound stepped a figure that contrasted sharply with the golden energies surrounding them. Clad in armor that appeared to absorb light rather than reflect it, the newcomer moved with predatory grace. Feminine but dangerous, her form suggested both strength and lethal efficiency. Her skin bore iridescent tattoos that shifted pattern constantly, their purpose clearly more functional than decorative. Most striking were her eyes. Solid silver without pupil or iris, yet conveying focused intensity despite their uniformity. Dragon God identified, she stated in a voice devoid of accent or inflection. Target confirmed. Without hesitation, she raised her right arm. The armor covering it transformed, components shifting and reconfiguring into what was unmistakable. A weapon, though unlike any conventional firearm or energy projector. Its barrel contained swirling vortices of anti-light similar to the void entity's composition. God Killer Protocol initiated, she announced dispassionately. Terminal sanction authorized. The weapon discharged, not energy or projectile but a concentrated stream of anti-essence that negated dragon energy on contact. The attack moved faster than conventional physics should allow, designed specifically to bypass divine defensive capabilities. Goku, operating on newly enhanced instinct, raised his hand. The dragon essence responded instantly, creating a barrier of golden scales that intercepted the attack. Instead of blocking the anti-essence, however, the scales absorbed and redirected it, a technique impossible before his completion of the trial of wisdom. That's not going to work, Goku stated calmly, his voice resonating with newfound confidence. Whatever that weapon is, it's designed for a different type of divine energy. The assassin's silver eyes narrowed fractionally, the only indication of surprise in her otherwise expressionless features. Adaptive defense. Unanticipated. She recalibrated her weapon, opponents shifting to a new configuration. Secondary protocol engaged. Setsuna stepped forward, temporal energy gathering around her hands. You violate sacred neutrality by bringing conflict to the dragon realm, assassin. The Chronos Guard will. Time manipulation ineffective against phase-shifted targets, the assassin interrupted, activating something on her armor that caused her form to blur slightly. Chronos jurisdiction acknowledged but irrelevant. She fired again. This time a spread of projectiles that separated midair, each targeting a different vital point on Goku's body. These moved not through conventional space but through probability itself, designed to manifest directly at their destinations regardless of defensive measures. Goku didn't attempt to dodge. Instead, he closed his eyes briefly, accessing the understanding gained in the labyrinth. The dragon essence responded to his intent, his body momentarily shifting out of phase with standard reality, not teleportation but transcendence. Existing simultaneously across multiple probability states. The assassin's projectiles passed through his location without finding purchase, unable to resolve a definitive target. Among the quantum superposition he'd achieved. Her silver eyes widened fractionally. Probability manipulation capabilities. Threat assessment increased. The components of her armor reconfigured again, adapting to this new information. Tertiary measures required. Kata moved protectively to Goku's side, her ceremonial dagger transformed into a full-length blade that glowed with dragon energy. Who sent you, assassin? She demanded. The formal lilt of her speech hardened by combat readiness. Client confidentiality absolute, the assassin replied mechanically. Deity termination services operate under strict anonymity protocols. Deity termination services. Minerva questioned from her position behind Ryujin, who had created a protective barrier around her human form. You're a professional god killer. For the first time, a hint of emotion colored the assassin's voice, something resembling professional pride. Zora of the Void Threshold. Specialist in Divine Entity Neutralization. Th. 372 successful terminations across 47 realities. That's quite a resume, Goku observed with unexpected calm, studying her with his draconic eyes. But I'm not interested in becoming number 373. Without warning, he moved, not with the battle rush of his former fighting style but with the fluid certainty of dragon essence fully integrated with martial skill. One moment he stood on the platform, the next he materialized beside Zora, hand gently but firmly grasping her weapon arm. Let's talk instead, he suggested, his transformed eyes meeting her silver ones directly. Zora reacted with trained precision, her free hand deploying a secondary weapon, a blade composed of compressed void energy designed to sever divine connections. She struck at Goku's throat with professional efficiency. The blade never connected. Goku shifted slightly, not evading but altering the fundamental properties of the space between them. The void energy comprising the blade dispersed harmlessly. Its pattern disrupted at the quantum level. That's enough, he said, voice still calm but now carrying the unmistakable resonance of draconic authority. I don't want to fight you. Combat preference irrelevant, Zora responded, though her attack rhythm faltered slightly. Contract obligations absolute. Who hired you? Goku asked directly. Information restricted. Why target me specifically? The dragon god maintains dimensional stability. Eliminating that function would harm countless realities. This question caused the first significant disruption in her mechanical demeanor. A slight furrow appeared between her silver eyes, her weapon arm relaxing fractionally in Goku's grip. Standard operational protocol includes target impact assessment, she acknowledged. Dragon god termination classified as minimal collateral risk. Who provided that classification? Setsuna interjected sharply. As Chronos Guardian, I can definitively state that assessment is catastrophically incorrect. Doubt registered briefly in Zora's expression. Intelligence provided by client. Verification performed through standard channels. Her silver eyes narrowed. Unless verification sources compromised. Goku released her arm slowly, sensing the shift in her mental state. I think someone wants me eliminated before I fully stabilize the dimensional boundaries. One who benefits from the current instability. The assassin stepped back, weapon still deployed but no longer directly targeted. Her silver eyes flickered as though processing internal data. Rational protocols include verification override in cases of potential intelligence compromise. She focused on Goku with renewed assessment. Temporary suspension of termination contract requested. Evidence evaluation required. Agreed. Goku responded immediately. I have no reason to harm you, and I think you've been misled about your target. Ryujin approached cautiously, his ancient eyes studying the assassin with academic interest. The weapon systems you employ, they incorporate void energy similar to the collective's composition. Void threshold technology, Zora confirmed, the weapon's reconfiguring into dormant state though remaining accessible. Harvested and repurposed from interdimensional boundary material. The same boundaries threatened by current instabilities, Minerva noted. Scientific mind making connections rapidly. Which means whoever hired you benefits from weakened dimensional walls. Setsuna's temporal form solidified as she focused on present reality. The VOID collective has attempted manipulation through proxies before. Your client may be unknowingly serving their interests. Zora's expression remained neutral, but subtle shifts in her stance suggested internal conflict, professional obligation warring with tactical reassessment. Verification protocol initiated, she finally stated. Temporary operational pause acknowledged. Before further discussion could progress, the platform beneath them trembled again, more violently than before. The formless energy surrounding them darkened significantly, swirling patterns disrupted by multiple intrusions. The void breaches on Earth. Keita exclaimed, her connection to Goku allowing her to perceive what he sensed through the dragon essence. The temporary seals are failing ahead of schedule. Setsuna's expression tightened with concern. They're adapting faster than anticipated. My temporal reinforcements are being systematically dismantled. We need to return immediately, Goku decided, Draconi. Eyes narrowing as he extended his awareness toward Earth. They're targeting population centers now. I can sense their intrusion points forming over major cities. The second trial, Ryujin began. We'll have to wait, Goku concluded firmly. People are in danger now. Zora observed this exchange with analytical interest, silver eyes processing the interaction. Target prioritizes mortal safety over power acquisition, she noted. Seemingly to herself. Behavioral pattern inconsistent with client briefing. Goku turned to her, decision made. Come with us. See for yourself what's happening. Then decide if your contract is valid. The assassin considered this proposal with professional assessment. Battlefield observation provides optimal verification conditions, she acknowledged. Temporary alliance accepted. Minerva began recalibrating her equipment for return transit. The dimensional coordinates for Earth are shifting. The void incursions are disrupting standard navigation parameters. I can create a direct pathway, Goku stated with newfound confidence. The dragon essence responded to his intent, golden energy coalescing before them to form a dimensional bridge connected directly to Earth. Unlike conventional portals, this bridge existed simultaneously across multiple probability states, ensuring stable transit regardless of disruptions. Impressive application, Ryujin observed, ancient eyes widening at the demonstration. Your integration with the essence progresses rapidly. Keita positioned herself at Goku's side, ceremonial blade still manifested. The dragon clan stands ready, she caught herself, offering a small smile instead. Goku, let's go, he responded, leading the group toward the dimensional bridge. Earth needs us. They emerged in West City's central district to find chaos unfolding. 12 separate dimensional breaches had formed across the skyline, each disgorging entities similar to the Void Scout from days earlier but larger and more substantially manifested. These weren't mere observers, their amorphous forms actively absorbed energy from their surroundings, leaving decaying matter in their wake. Citizens fled in panic as GS partially collapsed where void energy dissolved structural integrity. Emergency services had responded but found conventional weapons useless against entities that existed partially outside normal physics. This is worse than anticipated, Setsuna observed, her temporal form becoming less stable in proximity to the void disruptions. They've achieved partial materialization already. Vegeta arrived moments later, having sensed their return. His blue aura flared aggressively as he descended beside them. About time, Kakarot. These things started appearing an hour ago. Conventional attacks pass right through them. They exist between states of matter, Minerva explained, consulting her instruments. Partially here, partially in the void dimension. Goku studied the nearest entity with his enhanced perception. Through draconic eyes, he could see the complex pattern comprising its existence, the void energy woven into a semi-stable matrix, anchored to reality through specific harmonic frequencies. I can see how they're maintaining their presence, he stated, golden scales brightening as he accessed the understanding gained through the trial of wisdom. They're using the natural resonance frequency of Earth's dimension as an anchor point. Can you disrupt it? Keita asked, the connection between them allowing her to partially perceive what he saw. I think so. Goku extended one hand toward the nearest void entity, focusing his awareness on the pattern maintaining its manifestation. The dragon essence responded precisely, generating a counter-harmonic that destabilized the creature's anchor to reality. The void entity shuddered, its amorphous form flickering as its connection weakened. It turned what passed for attention toward Goku, awareness evident in its reaction. Dragon God detected. Countermeasures engaged. The entity's form compressed suddenly, becoming more defined rather than less. Void energy condensed into a roughly humanoid shape with distinctly predatory characteristics. Around the city, the other entities followed suit, transforming from amorphous masses into coordinated combat forms. They're adapting, Zora observed, her professional assessment cutting through alarm. Collective intelligence identified your countermeasure and implemented defensive reconfiguration. How is that possible? Vegeta demanded. You barely engaged the first one. They're connected through dimensional subspace, Minerva replied, studying readings from her instruments. Information transfers instantaneously across all units regardless of physical distance. He transformed void entities moved with coordinated purpose, converging from different directions. Their newly defined forms allowed for more precise application of void energy, tendrils extended toward infrastructure, civilians, and energy sources with deliberate intent rather than indiscriminate absorption. We need to split up, Goku decided quickly. Protect the civilians first, then focus on closing the breaches. I'll coordinate with Earth's defense forces, Vegeta stated, already rising into the air. Some of Bulma's technology shows promise against these things. Keita, go with him, Goku directed. Your knowledge of dragon energy might help calibrate their weapons. The Dragon Clan warrior hesitated, clearly reluctant to leave his side. The oath of service is best fulfilled by saving lives, Goku finished firmly. I'll be fine. Keita nodded sharply, decision made. As you wish. She turned to Vegeta. Prince of Saiyans, I require transportation to your technology centers. Vegeta's expression flickered between annoyance and amusement at her formal manner. Try to keep up, he replied, blasting toward Capsule Corporation with Keita following closely. Setsuna, can you stabilize the time flow around the breaches? Goku asked. Slow their progression. The Time Guardian nodded, though her form wavered slightly. Temporarily. The void energy disrupts temporal manipulation. But I can create localized stability fields. Minerva, find somewhere safe and continue monitoring the dimensional frequencies. If you can identify pattern changes in their manifestation, it's old help us counter them more effectively. The scientist adjusted her equipment with practiced efficiency. On it, I'll set up at that cafe across the street. High ground, good visibility, and likely has strong Wi-Fi. She added with unexpected pragmatism. Goku turned finally to Zora, who had been observing the situation with professional assessment. What about you? This would be a good opportunity. Try to complete your contract while I'm distracted. The assassin's silver eyes narrowed slightly. Operational pause still in effect. Intelligence verification incomplete. Her armor reconfigured, weapons systems activating. Temporary tactical alliance offers optimal observation conditions. Good enough, Goku acknowledged. Those void entities will target dragon energy specifically. Can your weapons affect them? Void threshold technology designed specifically for cross-dimensional entities, she confirmed, a hint of professional pride entering her otherwise mechanical tone. Offensive cap. Abilities include phase-matched projectiles and harmonic disruption fields. Then let's get to work. They separated, each addressing different aspects of the crisis. Setsuna moved between breach points. establishing temporal stabilization fields that slowed the void entity's materialization process. Minerva set up her monitoring station, coordinating with global defense systems through Bulma's emergency network. Ryujin, despite his diminished power, used his extensive knowledge to identify structural weaknesses in the void manifestations. Goku moved directly to confront the largest concentration of entities. His transformed body responded fluidly to the dragon essence, no longer requiring conscious direction for basic applications of power. Golden scales brightened as he channeled energy, creating barriers around endangered civilians while simultaneously engaging multiple void entities. Unlike previous combat experiences, this battle required precision rather than raw power. The void entities couldn't be defeated through conventional force, their composition simply absorbed or redirected energy attacks. Instead, Goku applied his newfound understanding, targeting the specific patterns maintaining their connection to Earth's reality. Dragon essence detected. Priority target acquired. Absorption protocols initiated. 3 void entities converged on his position, their humanoid forms extending absorption tendrils designed to siphon dragon energy directly. They moved with disturbing coordination, approaching from different vectors to limit escape options. Goku didn't attempt evasion. Instead, he extended both hands, draconic eyes perceiving the harmonic patterns underlying their manifestation. Dragon resonance, he stated calmly, the words themselves carrying power. Golden energy extended from his palms, not as destructive force but as modulating frequency. The void entities shuddered as their internal harmonics were disrupted, their carefully maintained connection to physical reality destabilizing. Counter-adaptation required. Reconfiguring. The entities began shifting form again, attempting to adjust their resonance to resist his disruption. Before they could complete the process, a stream of silver projectiles struck the nearest entity with precise targeting. The projectiles didn't impact physically but phased directly into the creature's core pattern, disrupting it from within. Zora landed beside Goku, her weapon systems cooling after discharge. Phase-matched ammunition effective but limited. Supply constraints apply. We need to close the breach points directly, Goku realized, extending his awareness toward the dimensional tiers. As long as they remain open, more entities can manifest. He focused his attention on the nearest breach, studying its structure with draconic perception. Unlike natural dimensional boundaries, which existed as flexible membranes between realities, these had been forcibly torn, deliberate incursions rather than accidental rifts. Someone created these specifically, he observed, golden scales brightening as he gathered dragon essence. They're maintained by external power sources. Correct assessment, Zora confirmed. Silver eyes analyzing the breach pattern. Void Collective Standard Infiltration Protocol employs anchor points in target dimension, typically concealed within existing energy infrastructure. The power grid, Goku realized, extending his awareness through the city's electrical system. With enhanced perception, he detected anomalies at specific junction points, void energy parasitically attached to normal power flow. Using Earth's own infrastructure to maintain the breaches. We need to find and neutralize the anchor points, he decided, already rising into the air for better perspective. Each breach is connected to a specific power node. Zora's armor reconfigured, components shifting to enhance sensory capabilities. Thermal and dimensional frequency scanning initiated. Target acquisition in progress. As they worked to identify the anchor points, a new complication emerged. Civilians trapped in a collapsing office building caught Goku's attention, their fear registering in his expanded awareness like a beacon. Without hesitation, he altered course, moving to address the immediate threat to human life rather than continuing the strategic response. Zora observed this decision with analytical interest, silver eyes tracking his movement. Target diverts from primary objective to address civilian endangerment. Inefficient tactical prioritization. Despite her assessment, she followed. Weapon systems reconfiguring for structural reinforcement rather than combat application. Her movements displayed the same lethal efficiency, but now directed toward stabilizing collapsing infrastructure while Goku evacuated trapped citizens. Together, they cleared the building in moments, Goku's dragon essence creating protective barriers around civilians as Zora's precision pawns temporarily reinforced failing support columns. When the last person reached safety, the assassin turned to him with subtle reassessment evident in her silver eyes. Inefficient but effective, she acknowledged, a hint of genuine curiosity entering her mechanical tone. You prioritize individual mortal safety over strategic advantage. Every life matters, Goku replied simply. That's not strategy, it's the right thing to do. Something flickered in Zora's expression, a micro-expression quickly suppressed but noticeably disruptive to her professional detachment. Conventional divinity Tai Piccoli operates on utilitarian efficiency metrics, she observed. Your behavioral pattern is unusual. Before Goku could respond, his enhanced awareness detected a new development. One of the void breaches had expanded significantly, its diameter doubling as something larger began to emerge, not another entity but a construct of some kind, mechanical components fused with void energy in impossible configurations. That's not good, he assessed, already moving toward the new threat. They're bringing through something much bigger. Zora followed, sensors analyzing the emerging construct. Void Collective Harvester Configuration, designed for large-scale energy extraction and dimensional weakening. Threat Assessment, critical. The Harvester completed its emergence, a massive structure resembling an industrial complex merged with organic components, hovering impossibly above the city center. Numerous absorption arrays extended from its core, targeting power infrastructure, natural energy sources, and most concerning, concentrations of life energy from the populace below. It's targeting the civilians, Goku realized, golden scales brightening with urgency. It's going to drain their life force. Without hesitation, he accelerated toward the construct, dragon essence responding to his protective intent. Golden energy coalesced around his transformed body, forming a barrier between the Harvester and the city below. The Harvester immediately redirected its arrays, absorption focus shifting to target Goku directly. Void energy lashed out in concentrated streams, attempting to penetrate his dragon essence barrier and siphon his power. Dragon Shield, Goku intoned, expanding the protective energy to encompass more of the city. The void streams struck the golden barrier, creating a dissonant reaction where opposing energies contested for dominance. Zora observed the confrontation with tactical assessment. Shield configuration suboptimal for multi-vector absorption attack. Structural weakness at nodal intersections. She was right. The Harvester's attacks concentrated on junction points where the dragon energy flowed together, creating stress patterns that threatened the shield's integrity. Goku adjusted, reinforcing these points specifically, but the effort required greater concentration and energy expenditure. I need to neutralize it completely, he realized, maintaining the shield while analyzing the Harvester's structure. But I can't drop protection for the civilians. Zora made a decision, silver eyes narrowing with focused intent. Shield maintenance priority assigned to Dragon God. Offensive action undertaken by tactical ally. Her armor reconfigured dramatically, components shifting to maximize attack capabilities while sacrificing defensive systems. Harvester core vulnerabilities identified. Precision strike planned. Before Goku could respond, she launched herself toward the construct, moving with calculated efficiency. Her weapons discharged synchronized bursts targeting specific structural weaknesses she'd identified in the Harvester's configuration. Be careful, Goku called after her, genuine concern overriding tactical considerations. That thing will target you directly once it recognizes the threat. Indeed, the Harvester immediately diverted secondary arrays toward Zora, void tendrils lashing out to intercept her approach. She navigated these with practiced precision, phase shifting momentarily to bypass direct obstacles while maintaining momentum toward the core. Goku divided his attention between maintaining the protective shield and monitoring Zora's progress. Through draconic perception, he identified a pattern to the Harvester's defensive responses, predictable sequences that revealed the artificial intelligence guiding its operations. Zora, he called through Dragon Essence, establishing temporary communication. It has a 3-second processing delay between detection and response. Use that gap. The assassin adjusted her approach immediately, timing her movements to exploit the weakness he'd identified. Her silver eyes reflected calculated precision as she penetrated deeper into the Harvester's structure, avoiding void tendrils by fractions of seconds. Reaching the core, she deployed her primary weapon, the specialized God Killer technology reconfigured for anti-void application. Target acquired. Terminal sanction initiated. The weapon discharged directly into the harvester's central processor, void threshold energy disrupting the construct's operating patterns at their foundation. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Systems failed in cascading sequence as void energy turned against itself, the carefully maintained balance collapsing into chaotic dissolution. Core destabilization achieved. Evacuation recommended. Zora's professional tone carried genuine urgency as she disengaged, armor already reconfiguring for maximum speed. The harvester began to implode, void energy collapsing inward as structural integrity failed completely. The implosion threatened to create a new problem, a potential vacuum effect that could damage the surrounding city if not contained. Goku reacted instantly, expanding his dragon essence barrier to encompass the failing harvester completely. Dragon containment, he stated, creating a dimensional pocket around the collapsing structure. The implosion completed within this protective sphere, void energy neutralizing itself in spectacular fashion before Goku carefully dissolved the barrier, releasing only harmless residual energy into the atmosphere. With the immediate threat neutralized, he turned his attention back to the remaining void breaches across the city. Through combined efforts with Setsuna's temporal fields and information from Minerva's monitoring, they identified and neutralized 7 anchor points maintaining the dimensional tiers. As the last breach sealed, an unexpected silence fell over the city, the constant dissonance of void energy suddenly absent, leaving only the sounds of emergency services and civilian movement in its wake. Goku descended to where Zora stood observing the aftermath, her armor reconfiguring to standard configuration. That was impressive work, he acknowledged, genuine appreciation evident despite her earlier assassination attempt. Your skills are remarkable. The assassin's silver eyes studied him with renewed assessment. Target demonstrating appreciation for assassin capabilities. Psychological manipulation suspected. Not manipulation. Just the truth, Goku replied with characteristic straightforwardness. You risked yourself to protect civilians who mean nothing to you. That says something important about who you really are. This observation visibly disrupted her professional detachment. Silver eyes flickering with something approaching uncertainty. Mission parameters adapted to situational requirements. Tactical alliance optimization prioritized. Is that all it was? Just tactics. Zora remained silent for a moment, internal conflict evident in subtle shifts of her posture. Operational directive requires complete analysis before contract determination, she finally stated, avoiding direct answer. Observation continues. Before further conversation could develop, Setsuna approached, her temporal form stabilizing as void disruptions diminished. The breaches are closed for now. But this was clearly a coordinated attack. The Void Collective is growing bolder, and more sophisticated in their approach. They were testing our responses, Minerva added, joining them with her monitoring equipment. Each wave adapted to our defensive measures, gathering tactical data rather than committing full resources. A reconnaissance in force, Zora confirmed, Prophecy. Onal assessment overriding personal uncertainty. Standard preparation for primary incursion. Goku's expression grew serious, draconic eyes narrowing slightly. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. His transformed features reflected newfound resolve. We need to prepare more thoroughly, and I need to complete the remaining trials quickly. Setsuna nodded agreement. The trial of compassion awaits, followed by strength. With full integration, you could seal the dimensional boundaries permanently against void incursion. How soon can we return to the Dragon Realm? Goku asked. Already X-Day. Nding his awareness to assess global conditions. The dimensional pathways remain stable, Ryujin confirmed, approaching with Kata and Vegeta, who had rejoined them after coordinating Earth's defenses. We can depart immediately if necessary. Kata studied Goku with professional assessment, noting changes in his energy pattern. The combat experience has accelerated your integration. Your approach, approaching 60% harmony with the essence. Not fast enough, Goku replied, uncharacteristic urgency in his voice. The Void Collective is targeting Earth specifically because of me, because the dragon essence is concentrated here. Then we shouldn't delay, Vegeta stated pragmatically. Complete your godly transformation so we can end this threat permanently, Kakarot. Goku nodded agreement but hesitated. His enhanced perception detecting something unusual in the aftermath energy patterns. A subtle resonance unlike void manifestations or dragon essence, something both familiar and foreign simultaneously. There's something else here, he said, focusing his awareness on the anomalous pattern. Another presence observing us. The group tensed, preparations for departure temporarily suspended as they scanned their surroundings. Zora's weapons systems reactivated, silver eyes narrowing as she conducted her own assessment. Dimensional frequency detected, she confirmed. Not void-based. Natural energy signature with artificial modification. The anomalous pattern suddenly intensified, coalescing 20 feet away into a swirling vortex of green energy. Unlike the jagged void breaches, this portal formed with elegant precision, its edges defined by swirling leaves and vines that appeared and disappeared in continuous cycle. Through this natural gateway stepped a woman unlike any present had encountered before. Tall and willowy with skin the vibrant green of new growth, her hair resembled living vines intertwined with blossoming flowers that changed color as she moved. Her eyes contained no pupils or irises, only the deep amber of tree sap caught in sunlight. She wore no conventional clothing but was adorned with living plants that grew directly from her form, covering her body in a constantly shifting arrangement of leaves, flowers, and vines. Her expression conveyed unmistakable anger as she surveyed the bottle's aftermath, those amber eyes eventually fixing directly on Goku. "You," she stated, her voice resonating with multiple harmonics that mimicked natural sounds, flowing water, rustling leaves, distant thunder. "You were responsible for this ecological catastrophe. Who are you?" Goku asked, neither defensive nor aggressive but genuinely curious. "I am Amara," she replied, bare feet touching damaged concrete which immediately sprouted small green shoots where she made contact. "Guardian of natural order, overseer of ecological balance." Her amber eyes narrowed accusingly. "And you are the source of dimensional corruption killing countless ecosystems across 17 connected realms." The accusation hung in the air, unexpected and confusing. Goku studied the nature demi-goddess with his enhanced perception, recognizing a divine energy signature DFF errant from his own but equally powerful in its domain. "I don't understand," he admitted honestly. "How am I causing ecological damage?" Amara gestured sharply, the plants adorning her body responding to her agitation with accelerated growth and movement. "Your transformation into Dragon God released energy fluctuations that disrupted the natural harmonic frequency of interconnected biospheres." Living vines extended from her outstretched hand, forming a spherical display of affected ecosystems, forests withering, coral reefs bleaching, entire habitats deteriorating at accelerated rates. "The dragon essence should strengthen natural systems, not damage them," Ryujin interjected, ancient eyes studying the displayed ecosystems with concern. "This is unprecedented, because his ascension remains incomplete," Amara stated with evident frustration. "Partial integration creates dissonance rather than harmony. The essence leaks into connected realities without purpose or direction, disrupting established patterns." Minerva stepped forward, scientific curiosity overriding caution. "Like radiation without proper containment," she theorized, studying the displayed ecosystems. "The transfer Mashan energy is affecting adjacent dimensional spaces without proper structure or control." "Precisely." Amara's amber eyes softened slightly at the human's understanding. "Your mortal scientist grasps what the newly ascended god does not." Quote, Goku absorbed this information with growing concern, his transformed features reflecting genuine distress. "I never intended to cause harm. How can I fix this?" The nature goddess seemed momentarily taken aback by his immediate acceptance of responsibility and desire for resolution. She had clearly expected denial or defensiveness rather than humble acknowledgement. "You must complete your ascension," she stated after a moment's consideration. "Fully integrate with the dragon essence to contain its spillover effects. We were just preparing to return to the dragon realm for the remaining trials," Keita explained, studying Amara with professional assessment. Her hand remained near her ceremonial dagger, but her posture conveyed respectful caution rather than aggression. "The trial of compassion," Amara noted, amber eyes widening with sudden understanding. "Yes, that would address the dissonance directly." Her expression shifted from accusation to thoughtful consideration. "Perhaps my arrival was not coincidental but necessary." Setsuna nodded agreement, temporal awareness perceiving connections beyond conventional understanding. "The dragon essence itself may have drawn you here. Guardian of natural order, Your domain is intrinsically connected to the trial of compassion. How so? Goku asked, eager to understand and resolve the ecological damage. Amara approached him directly, plants shifting around her as she moved. Where void energy had created decay, her presence stimulated renewal. Small plants emerging from damaged concrete, accelerated healing in injured wildlife. Air quality improving through rapidly multiplying microorganisms. Compassion in the cosmic sense is not merely emotional empathy, she explained, standing before him without fear despite his transformed state. It is the fundamental interconnection between all living things, the recognition that separation is illusion, that harm to one system inevitably impacts all others. She extended one vine-wrapped hand toward him, amber eyes unblinking. I can guide you through this trial, Dragon God. I can show you what your incomplete ascension has wrought, and in understanding, you may heal it. Goku looked to his companions, seeking their assessment. Keita nodded approval, recognizing the authenticity of Amara's offer. Ryujin's ancient eyes conveyed cautious agreement, while Setsuna's temporal form stabilized further, suggesting alignment with necessary progression. Zora, however, stepped forward with subtle protectiveness. Verification of entity intentions recommended before engagement, she stated, silver eyes assessing Amara with professional suspicion. Coincidental arrival during vulnerable transition period statistically improbable. Your caution is noted, assassin. Amara acknowledged without hostility, but unnecessary. My domain is creation and balance, concepts fundamentally opposed to deception. To demonstrate, she touched the ground again. This time, plants grew in a specific pattern, living vegetation forming symbols identical to those appearing on Goku's transformed skin. The dragon essence responded immediately, golden scales brightening in recognition. She's connected to the essence in her own way, Goku realized, understanding flowing through the enhanced perception granted by the trial of wisdom. Natural systems are art of the balance the dragon god maintains. Decision made. He extended his hand to meet Amara's. Show me what needs to be healed. Their hands connected, and immediately the world around them transformed. Not physically, but perceptually. Goku's consciousness expanded exponentially, guided by Amara's natural connection to living systems. His awareness extended beyond immediate surroundings to encompass entire ecosystems. Then biospheres, then planetary systems of life across multiple connected dimensions. And with this expanded perception came understanding of the damage his incomplete Scion had caused. Subtle distortions in natural energy flow, accelerated decay in vulnerable systems, disrupted reproductive cycles in countless species. The golden energy of partial dragon essence Integration had seeped into these connected realities without direction or purpose, creating cascading imbalances throughout. This is, Goku whispered, overwhelmed by the scope of unintentional harm. Quote, the consequence of power without complete understanding, Amara confirmed, her voice gentler now. But also the opportunity for healing that only you can provide. Through their connected consciousness, she guided him deeper into awareness of interconnection, showing how each living system depended on countless others, how balance existed not as static state but as dynamic equilibrium constantly adjusting to change. The dragon essence responded to this understanding, golden energy flowing more harmoniously through his transformed body. Compassion isn't just feeling, Goku realized aloud, the Econ trial unfolding through this expanded perception. It's seeing the connections clearly and accepting responsibility for how my actions affect everything else. Yes, Amara confirmed, amber eyes glowing brighter. Cosmic compassion is awareness in action, the recognition that with great power comes not just responsibility but inevitable consequence, both intended and unforeseen. The trial of compassion continued as their connected consciousness explored affected ecosystems across dimensional boundaries. Unlike the labyrinth of the first trial, this challenge existed not as external puzzle, but as internal recognition, the development of perception beyond self-centered awareness to universal connection. Goku's transformed body responded physically to this expanding consciousness. The golden scales spread further, covering more of his form while the draconic markings became more pronounced and complex. His eyes shifted hue, cycling through spectral colors before settling into a deep emerald that reflected living growth and renewal. I can heal this, he stated with quiet certainty, the dragon essence responding to newfound understanding. Not by imposing change but by restoring Allens, by completing my integration so the essence stops leaking uncontrolled energy. Amara nodded approval, guiding without controlling as Goku extended golden energy with new purpose. Unlike his previous applications of power, this flowed with natural precision, identifying damaged systems and providing exactly what each needed for self-restoration rather than forced correction. You understand the fundamental principle, she acknowledged, satisfaction evident in her harmonic voice. True healing comes from within each system, guided but not dominated by external force. As they worked together across dimensional boundaries, something unexpected developed between them, a natural resonance that transcended professional cooperation. Amara's initial hostility dissolved completely, replaced by growing respect and something approaching wonder as she witnessed Goku's genuine commitment to restoration. For his part, Goku found himself responding to her guidance with increasing appreciation. Unlike Keita's formal devotion or Setsuna's temporal detachment, Amara's connection to living systems provided perspective he hadn't encountered before, a counterbalance to cosmic awareness that anchored vast power in practical application and natural consequence. When they finally completed the healing work and their consciousness returned to immediate surroundings, both had changed in subtle but significant ways. Amara's plant coverings now included small golden flowers that resembled dragon scales, while Goku's transformed appearance incorporated delicate green vines intertwined with draconic markings. The trial of compassion is complete, Keita announced, formal tone softened by evident wonder. Integration now approaches 75%. Minerva checked her instruments with scientific precision. The dimensional energy readings are stabilizing across all monitored sectors. Whatever you did worked. The disruptive emissions have ceased entirely. Setsuna's temporal form solidified further, no longer fluctuating between states. The time stream adjusts accordingly. Potential futures involving ecosystem collapse have diminished significantly. Amara stepped back, amber eyes studying Goku with new perspective. You are not what I expected, she admitted, echoing Keita's earlier assessment but with different inflection, surprise tinged with something warmer. Most beings your power level view natural systems as resources rather than partners. I still have a lot to learn, Goku acknowledged with characteristic humility despite his increasingly divine appearance. Thank you for showing me what I couldn't see on my own. Before further conversation could develop, reality shuddered around them, not from void incursion or dimensional breach but from something more fundamental. The sky above darkened momentarily as stars became visible in daylight, celestial bodies realigning in impossible configuration. Time disruption, Setsuna announced, alarm evident in her normally composed voice. Major chrono fracture detected in approaching dimensional space. A vertical line appeared in the air before them, perfectly straight and impossibly thin, as though reality had been sliced with surgical precision. This line widened gradually, revealing not another dimension but the absence of dimension itself, a space between spaces where conventional physics held no meaning. From this non-place emerged a figure of regal bearing and absolute authority. Tall and imposing with skin that resembled polished obsidian inlaid with golden constellations that moved in complex patterns across his surface. His eyes contained galaxies in miniature, swirling cosmic systems suspended in ageless observation. He wore robes of material that appeared simultaneously solid and liquid, shifting between states with each subtle movement. Greetings, Ascendant One, he announced in a voice that seemed to originate from everywhere simultaneously. I am Lord Kronos, Master of Eternal Flow, Overseer of Cosmic Continuity. Those galaxy eyes fixed on Goku with penetrating assessment. I have come to offer my guidance for your final trial. Chapter 3. Ascension Complete. The name, Chrono, sent a visible ripple of concern through Setsuna. Her temporal form flickered momentarily as she moved protectively closer to Goku, star-flecked hair bristling with energy. Lord Kronos rarely leaves the Eternal Observatory, she stated, her voice carefully measured despite evident tension. His direct intervention is unprecedented. The time deity smiled, a gesture that resembled the birth and death of stars more than human expression. These are unprecedented times, Guardian Setsuna. The ascension of a new dragon god after eons of absence warrants personal attention. Goku studied the newcomer with his enhanced perception. Through draconic eyes, he could see the immense power contained within Lord Kronos, time itself bent around him, past and future existing simultaneously within his form. History and potential intertwined in dizzying complexity. You're Setsuna's superior, Goku observed, neither intimidated nor obsequious despite the deity's obvious power. I am master of all. Temporal guardians across the multiverse, Chronos confirmed, galaxy eyes studying Goku with analytical interest. Though, superior, implies hierarchy where cosmic roles would be more accurate. We maintain aspects of universal order, time, space, creation, destruction, and now, integration. Ryujin stepped forward, ancient form bowing deeply before the time deity. Lord Chronos, your presence honors us. His withered features betrayed a complex mixture of emotions, respect tinged with what might have been apprehension. Former vessel, Chronos acknowledged, barely glancing at Ryujin. Failure provided valuable data for the current transition. The dismissive tone caused Goku's eyes to narrow slightly. The dragon essence responded to his protective instinct, golden scales brightening subtly. Ryujin has been helpful during my ascension. Without his knowledge, I'd be struggling even more with this transformation. Chronos's galaxy eyes shifted back to Goku, something approving in their cosmic depths. Defending one who attempted to steal your power. Interesting. He gestured elegantly, reality rippling around his hand. Such compassion confirms you're ready for the final trial, the trial of strength. We were preparing to return to the Dragon Realm for that purpose, Keita stated, her formal tone respectful but direct. Unnecessary, Chronos replied with casual authority. The Dragon Realm is merely a manifestation point, not a requirement. I can initiate the trial here, now, saving valuable time when dimensional barriers grow weaker by the moment. Zora, who had remained vigilantly observing, shifted position slightly. Her silver eyes never left Chronos as her armor reconfigured subtly, not overtly threatening but prepared. Accelerated Ascension Protocol carries increased failure probability. She noted clinically. Statistical analysis recommends standard procedural adherence. Amara nodded agreement, amber eyes assessing Chronos with natural wariness. Rushed growth leads to unstable systems. The Dragon God's integration should proceed at its natural pace. Under normal circumstances, perhaps, Chronos conceded with the patience of one explaining simple concepts to children. But the Void Collective prepares its final incursion even now. Their harmonics specialists have identified the frequency patterns of incomplete ascension. They target this specific vulnerability. Minerva, analyzing data on her modified equipment, reluctantly confirmed this assessment. He's right. I'm detecting void energy concentrations building at 37-dimensional junctions. Their pattern suggests coordinated approach rather than scattered incursions like before. How long do we have? Goku asked directly. Hours at most, Chronos replied, Constellation P. A turns shifting across his obsidian skin. Hence my intervention. The trial of strength must be completed before they breach reality's final barriers. Setsuna studied her superior with subtle concern. Temporal awareness searching potential timelines. The trial of strength requires controlled conditions to prevent reality fracture. Field initiation carries significant risk. I am time itself, Guardian. Chronos reminded her with mild reproach. I can stabilize local reality during the trial. His galaxy eyes returned to Goku. What say you, Dragon God Ascendant? Will you trust my guidance in this critical moment? Goku didn't answer immediately. The wisdom gained through his first trial urged caution, perceiving complexities beyond immediate appearances. The compassion awakened in his Econ trial sensed subtle disharmonies in Chronos's presentation, like an ecosystem minutely out of balance. Yet the practical reality remained. If the Void Collective launched their final attack before his ascension completed, countless realities would suffer. What exactly does the trial of strength involve? He asked instead, buying time to assess options. Not physical combat, as many misinterpret, Chronos explained, seeming pleased by the question. Rather, it tests your capacity to contain and direct the full power of the dragon essence without being consumed by it. To become the vessel rather than merely its wielder. Ryujin nodded confirmation, ancient eyes carrying the weight of personal experience. The final trial reveals whether your consciousness can maintain coherence when fully merged with cosmic power. Many potential vessels disintegrate at this stage. This stark assessment sent a ripple of concern through Goku's companions. Keita stepped closer to him. Personal war. Why briefly overriding professional detachment? The Dragon Clan archives record only 1 in 7 candidates surviving complete integration. But those candidates lacked your unique advantages, Chronos countered smoothly. Your Saiyan physiology, your experience with divine energy through Ultra Instinct, your natural adaptability to transformation, these factors substantially improve your probability of success. Goku considered this information thoughtfully, draconic eyes studying each of his companions in turn. Keita's concerned devotion, Minerva's scientific caution, Setsuna's temporal awareness, Amara's natural wariness, Zora's professional assessment, and Ryujin's complex resignation. If the Void Collective is preparing their final attack, we don't have much choice, he finally decided. But I'd feel better doing this in the Dragon Realm where the essence is naturally stronger. Chronos inclined his head in acquiescence. A reasonable compromise. I shall accompany you to ensure proper temporal containment during the transition. Without waiting for further discussion, the time deity extended one hand. Reality folded around them, not the careful dimensional bridge Goku had created earlier, but an instantaneous transition that bypassed conventional space entirely. The golden formlessness of the Dragon Realm materialized around them, though subtly changed from their previous visit. The crystalline structures floating among draconic clouds now appeared sharper, more defined, as though reality itself had become more focused in anticipation of what approached. Temporal stabilization field established, Chronos announced, constellation patterns shifting across his obsidian skin as he manipulated fundamental forces. We may proceed without chronological disruption despite energy magnitudes involved. Goku moved to the center of the materializing platform, instinctively recognizing the appropriate position. The dragon essence within him responded eagerly, golden scales brightening across his transformed body as draconic markings became more pronounced. What do I need to do? He asked, watching as his companions positioned themselves at cardinal points around him. Quote, simply open yourself completely to the essence, Ryujin explained, ancient voice carrying the weight of personal knowledge. Remove all barriers between your consciousness and the dragon power you've partially integrated. Like removing a dam holding back water, Amara added, her natural understanding providing helpful context. Allow the essence to flow freely through every aspect of your being. Keita knelt at the eastern position, arranging crystalline fragments into patterns corresponding to Goku's draconic markings. The Dragon Clan will anchor your mortal consciousness during transition, she stated. Ceremonial dagger laid before her. Our blood connection provides stabilizing influence when personality dissolution threatens. Minerva established her monitoring equipment at the southern point. Instruments modified to withstand the energies that would soon manifest. I'll track integration percentages and provide empirical feedback on the transition process, she explained, cracked. Ikal approach unchanged despite the cosmic setting. Setsuna took the western position, temporal form solidifying as she extended her awareness to monitor potential timeline disruptions. I will maintain in chronological stability within Lord Chronos' larger field, she stated, professional tone belying evident concern. Amara positioned herself at the northern point, living plants growing from the Cr. Eastaline platform beneath her bare feet. I shall monitor ecological balance across connected realms, preventing harmonic disruption during power fluctuations, she explained, amber eyes fixed on Goku with complex emotion. Zora, after brief hesitation, positioned herself at the northeastern intercardinal point, armor reconfiguring to sensor-dominant configuration. Tactical assessment and emergency intervention protocols established, she stated with professional detachment, though her silver eyes reflected something beyond mere duty. Ryujin completed the circle, taking the northwestern position opposite Zora. His diminished form seemed to grow somewhat in the Dragon Realm's native energy, ancient markings glowing with renewed, if modest, power. Lord Chronos remained outside their circle, galaxy eyes observing with calculated interest as he maintained the temporal containment field. Begin when ready, Ascendant. I shall ensure time flows appropriately during the transition. Goku closed his eyes, centering himself in the understanding gained through previous trials. Wisdom had taught him to perceive the interconnections between all things. Compassion had awakened his awareness of responsibility beyond self. Now strength would test whether he could maintain these understandings when confronted with unlimited power. Drawing a deep breath, he consciously lowered the barriers he'd instinctively maintained between his core identity and the dragon essence. Golden energy responded immediately, surging through pathways previously restricted, flooding his consciousness with cosmic awareness far beyond anything he'd experienced before. The sensation defied description, like simultaneously drowning and breathing perfectly, burning and being reforged, dissolving and crystallizing. His perception expanded exponentially, consciousness stretching across dimensions, timelines, and possibilities with dizzying speed. He perceived the heartbeats of every living creature across countless realities. He witnessed stars being born and dying in the same eternal moment. He experienced the quantum dance of subatomic particles and the majestic movement of galactic superclusters. All exist, ends became accessible to his awareness at once, overwhelming, magnificent, terrifying in its infinite complexity. His integration reaches 80%, Minerva reported, voice seeming distant despite her proximity. Consciousness patterns fluctuating but maintaining coherence. The anchor holds, Kata confirmed, blood connection allowing her to monitor Goku's core identity beneath the cosmic expansion. But strain increases exponentially with each percentage point. Through the overwhelming influx of perception, Goku struggled to maintain his sense of self. The dragon essence pulled his consciousness toward complete dissolution, toward becoming everything and therefore nothing specific. The promised power of godhood came with the price of identity, of personality, of the individual experiences that made him uniquely Goku. He approaches the critical threshold, Ryujin observed, ancient voice tinged with complex emotion. 85% integration marks the point where most candidates lose coherence. Lord Kronos stepped closer to the circle, galaxy eyes intensifying as constellation patterns accelerated across his obsidian skin. Focus on your core purpose, Ascendant. W. Had defines you beyond power or position. The question reached Goku through the cosmic flood, providing momentary anchor. What defined him? Not strength alone, though he'd always pursued it. Not fighting skill, though he'd refined it throughout his life. Not even protection, though he'd dedicated himself to it repeatedly. The answer emerged from his deepest self, connection. His fundamental nature had always been defined by the bonds he formed, the relationships he built, the people he loved and who loved him in return. From childhood with Grandpa Gohan through every stage of his journey, actions with others had shaped his growth and given purpose to his power. This realization provided structure within the overwhelming cosmic awareness. Rather than fighting against dissolution, Goku directed his approach, using connections as framework for integration. The dragon essence responded, golden energy flowing more harmoniously as it recognized this organizing principle. Integration stabilizing at 89%. Minerva reported with cautious optimism. Consciousness patterns re-establishing coherent structure. Remarkable adaptation, Amara observed, amber eyes widening as living plants beneath her feet blossomed in response to the harmonizing energy. He's using relational patterns as integration framework rather than hierarchical control. The process accelerated, Gon essence flowing through the newly established pathways with increasing harmony. Golden scales spread further across Goku's transformed body, no longer separate components but integral aspects of his unified being. Draconic markings evolved from symbolic representations to living language, telling the story of his journey toward completion. 93%, Minerva announced, excitement overcoming scientific detachment. He's exceeding theoretical thresholds for conscious integration. Kata's formal composure broke into genuine smile. The prophecy was right. He is different from previous vessels. As integration approached completion, Goku's expanded awareness detected something unexpected. Resonance patterns within each of his companions that harmonized with the dragon essence itself. Not merely as observers or assistants, but as potential participants in what was unfolding. Before he could explore this revelation further, his perception caught something else, subtle manipula. Tion in the temporal containment field maintained by Lord Kronos. Not stabilization but preparation, as though the time deity were positioning cosmic forces for extraction rather than protection. Simultaneously, he sensed Ryujin's energy shifting, the ancient being's diminished power flaring with renewed purpose as previously concealed connections activated between him and Kronos. Not partnership but conspiracy, revealed through the near-omniscient perception of almost completed integration. Understanding crystallized with perfect clarity, betrayal unfolding in slow motion as his consciousness approached full godhood. Kronos had no intention of supporting his ascension. The time deity sought to harvest the concentrated dragon essence at the moment of completion, working in concert with Rai Ujin's ancient knowledge to redirect the power before full integration solidified. With this understanding came choice: to complete the process naturally and risk interception, or to take decisive action despite incomplete integration. The wisdom of his first trial and the compassion of his second combined with newborn strength, guiding his decision. 97%, Minerva reported, oblivious to the subplot her instruments couldn't detect. Final integration phase initiating. Goku's eyes snapped open, no longer cycling through colors but stabilized as brilliant gold with draconic pupils that perceived truth directly. Stop, he commanded, voice resonating with multi-layered harmonics that caused the very fabric of the dragon realm to vibrate in response. The golden energy surrounding him condensed instantly, integration pausing at his direction. Though incomplete, his control had become precise enough to manipulate the process itself, an achievement supposedly impossible before full ascension. What are you doing? Kronos demanded, galaxy eyes narrowing with the first hint of concern. The integration must complete naturally or risk catastrophic failure. You're not here to help me ascend, Goku stated with absolute certainty, golden scales brightening as he channeled partially integrated power. You're here to steal the dragon essence when I'm most vulnerable. This declaration sent shock rippling through his companions, all except Ryujin, whose ancient features betrayed no surprise, only calculation as he reassessed the situation. Absurd accusation, Kronos replied smoothly, though constellation patterns accelerated across his obsidian skin. I am Lord of Time, beyond such petty ambitions. I can see the temporal extraction field you're creating, Goku countered. Enhanced perception cutting through deception. And I can see Ryujin's connection to your plan. Setsuna's expression shifted from confusion to dawning horror as her own temporal awareness confirmed what Goku perceived. The harmonic patterns, they match prohibited extraction protocols from the ancient archives. Zora's armor reconfigured instantly to combat mode, silver eyes fixed on Kronos with deadly focus. Target threat confirmation received. Defensive protocols engaged. Faced with exposure, Lord Kronos abandoned pretense. Galaxy eyes flaring with cold fury, he extended both hands. Reality shuddered as his true power manifested, time itself bending to his will as the carefully constructed temporal field revealed its actual purpose. The dragon essence belongs to higher management than some fortunate Saiyan who stumbled into transformation, he declared, voice shedding its diplomatic veneer. The cosmic hierarchy has maintained balance for eons without dragon gods interfering in established domains. Ryujin rose to stand beside Kronos, his diminished form straightening with renewed purpose. The essence was never meant for single-vessel containment, he added, ancient eyes reflecting complex justification. Distributed management through established cosmic authorities ensures proper application without disruptive concentration. You mean it ensures nobody becomes powerful enough to challenge the existing order, Goku translated, understanding flowing through his enhanced perception. Including both of you, Kronos smiled, the cold expression of a being accustomed to outlasting opposition. Perceptive, but irrelevant. At 97% integration, you remain vulnerable to chronostasis. He made a complex gesture, constellation patterns aligning across his obsidian skin. I'll simply pause your existence while we extract the essence. The attack came with overwhelming force, temporal energy designed to freeze Goku between moments, suspending his consciousness while leaving the dragon essence accessible. Against any lesser being, it would have succeeded instantly. Instead, golden scales brightened as Goku channeled his incomplete but substantial integration. Dragon time, he stated simply, the words themselves carrying power that counteracted Kronos' assault. The time deity's galaxy eyes widened in genuine shock as his chronostasis field dissipated against unexpected resistance. Impossible. No partial integration has ever manifested temporal manipulation capabilities. I'm not like previous vessels, Goku replied, golden energy expanding around him protectively. And I'm not alone. His companions moved instantly, responding to the revealed betrayal with coordinated precision. Setsuna directed temporal energy against her former master. creating localized distortion fields that disrupted his chrono manipulation. Kata activated her blood connection to the dragon essence, reinforcing Goku's resistance through their established link. Amara commanded living matter within the dragon realm itself, creating natural barriers that interfered with Kronos' constellation patterns. Minerva redirected her equipment to generate counter harmonic frequencies against the extraction field. Zora deployed specialized weapons designed specifically for deity-level threats, Silver Eyes calculating optimal attack vectors. Kronos assessed the opposition with cold calculation. Amusing but futile. I've manipulated time since before your species evolved consciousness. With casual gesture, he fractured reality around them, not merely slow Winger accelerating time but shattering it into disconnected fragments where cause and effect lost coherence. What about the Void Collective? Goku demanded, maintaining his protective field despite the temporal assault. Was that threat real, or just manipulation to rush my ascension? Oh, quite real, Kronos confirmed with disturbing nonchalance. Their final incursion begins even now, a conva. Any distraction while we extract the essence. The multiverse will survive their attack, though perhaps with fewer inhabited dimensions afterward. This callous dismissal of countless lives crystallized Goku's resolve. Drawing on the incomplete but powerful integration he'd achieved, he extended his awareness across dimensional boundaries, perceiving the truth of Kronos' statement with horrifying clarity. The Void Collective had indeed launched their final assault, massive breaches forming across 37 dimensional junctions simultaneously. Unlike previous incursions, these tiers reached deeper into reality's foundation, threatening not merely individual worlds but the structural integrity of connected dimensions themselves. I can't let this happen, Goku stated, determination hardening his transformed features. The dragon essence responded to his resolve, integration resuming despite the interrupted process. Golden energy surged through pathways previously established, Aproa. Qing completion through sheer necessity rather than formal ritual. Kronos recognized the danger immediately. Ryujin. The extraction field. Now. The ancient being extended withered hands, channeling what remained of his former power into the temporal construct Kronos had prepared. Forgive me, he whispered, though whether to Goku or himself remained unclear. Some powers were never meant for single vessels. Their combined assault struck with precision honed through eons of planning. Kronos manipulating time while Ryujin directed the extraction matrix, both targeting the concentrated Drago. N essence at the moment of maximum vulnerability. What they failed to anticipate was Goku's fundamental nature, his instinctive response to protect others transcending even self-preservation. Rather and defending against their extraction attempt, he redirected his focus entirely toward the dimensional breaches threatening countless lives across the multiverse. Dragon Sealing, he intoned, channel. Ing nearly completed integration toward cosmic protection rather than personal completion. Golden energy exploded outward not as unfocused power but as precisely directed essence, targeting each diamond's ional breach simultaneously through expanded awareness. The dragon essence responded eagerly to this selfless application, flowing through established pathways with perfect harmony. No, Kronos shouted, recognizing the tactical error too late. The extraction field isn't aligned for redirected output. The consequences unfolded in cascading sequence. Goku's selfless action disrupted the carefully calibrated extraction attempt, causing temporal backlash that shattered Kronos' control field. Uncontained chrono energy collided with dragon essence in chaotic reaction, creating reality fractures that spread through the dragon realm with exponential speed. Dimensional collapse imminent, Setsuna warned, temporal awareness perceiving the approaching catastrophe. We must evacuate immediately. We can't, Kata countered, blood connection to Goku allowing her to perceive his ongoing effort. He's still channeling power to seal the void breaches, interruption would doom countless realities. The platform beneath them began dissolving as reality fractures deepened. Crystalline structures shattered throughout the dragon realm as fundamental forces lost coherence, the formless energy that comprised this dimension destabilizing rapidly. We have approximately 47 seconds before total dimensional failure, Minerva reported with scientific precision despite evident fear. After that, we'll be cast into the void between realities with no return path. Amara extended her awareness through natural systems connected to the dragon realm. The damage extends beyond this dimension, Reality fractures are spreading through connected worlds like cracks through ice. Kronos and Ryujin, recognizing the catastrophe they'd triggered, attempted separate escapes, the time deity creating a chrono tunnel while Ryujin channeled remaining power into dimensional shift. Neither succeeded as reality distortions interrupted their efforts, trapping them alongside everyone else in the collapsing realm. It's all falling apart, Keita whispered, watching as golden energy continued flowing from Goku toward distant breaches despite the destruction surrounding them. His selfless focus remained broken even as the dimension containing him disintegrated. In this moment of apparent hopelessness, Zora stepped forward. Her silver eyes reflected calculated decision as her armor reconfigured to its most basic form. Components shifting away from weapons toward fundamental functionality. Alternative approach identified, she stated with unexpected gentleness. The prophecy was misinterpreted. All attention turned to her. Even Kronos paused his escape attempts to listen. Explain quickly, Setsuna urged as reality fractures widened around them. Ancient texts recovered during deity termination research expedition. Zora continued, silver eyes fixed on Goku's glowing form. Dragon God prophecy mistranslated through historical transmission. Original text referenced not singular entity but connected pantheon. A pantheon? Minerva questioned, scientific mind rapidly processing implications despite their dire circumstances. Multiple connected beings rather than individual vessel. Correct, Zora confirmed. Dragon essence distribution across harmonized vessels creates balanced integration without reality distortion. Understanding dawned across multiple faces simultaneously. A's eyes widened with revelation as she consulted ancestral memory embedded in her Dragon Clan heritage. The ancient texts, the symbols on my ceremonial dagger, they never depicted a single Drago. God but a constellation of connected vessels. The blood ritual, Amara realized, amber eyes brightening. It wasn't merely for communication but preparation, establishing harmonic resonance for distributed integration. Kronos hissed with frustration. Impossible. The essence requires singular containment for proper management. Not management. Goku's voice resonated despite his continued focus on sealing distant breaches. Partnership. With effort that visibly strained his transforming features, he divided his awareness, maintaining the sealing effort while simultaneously perceiving the revelation Zora had provided. Through draconic eyes, he finally recognized what his expanded consciousness had detected earlier, resonance patterns within each companion that harmonized with specific aspects of the dragon essence itself. You're all part of this, he realized aloud. Each connected to different aspects of the same power. The reality fractures reached critical expansion, the Drago realm's dissolution accelerating beyond containment. With seconds remaining before complete dimensional failure, Goku made a decision that transcended formal trials and traditional ascension. I trust you, he stated simply. Golden eyes meeting each companion in turn. All of you. With deliberate intent, he reversed the integration process, not rejecting the dragon essence but redirecting it out. Ward along the connection pathways already established with each companion. Golden energy flowed from his transformed body in precisely calibrated streams, each targeting specific harmonic resonance within the assembled group. What are you doing? Kronos demanded, galaxy eyes widening with alarm. Completing the prophecy correctly, Goku answered, voice steady despite the tremendous effort. Not one dragon god, but a pantheon in balance. The golden energy reached each companion simultaneously, triggering transformations unique to each recipient's nature and harmonic resonance. Keita receive, the essence of tradition and memory, golden scales manifesting along her forearms and temples as her ceremonial blade transformed into a staff of office inscribed with the complete history of dragon essence across dimensions. Her eyes shifted to match Goku's draconic pupils, though retaining their original color. Minerva absorbed the essence of knowledge and discovery, her human form incorporating crystalline components that resembled dragon scales while maintaining scientific functionality. Her mind expanded exponentially, comprehension transcending conventional limitations while remaining anchored in empirical methodology. Setsuna integrated with the essence of time and continuity, her temporal form solidifying completely as golden chronological markers appeared across her skin. Her star-flecked hair incorporated draconic patterns that tracked timeline modifications through visual representation. Amara merged with the essence of life and renewal, her plant coverings incorporating gold. N scales while maintaining natural vitality. Flowers blooming across her form now resembled miniature dragons, representing the fundamental connection between dragon essence and living systems throughout the multiverse. Zora accepted the essence of boundaries and protection, her armor fusing directly with her form as silver eyes gained draconic pupils. Weapons systems reconfigured into integral as PECTS of her being rather than external components, designed specifically to maintain dimensional integrity against unauthorized incursion. Even Ryujin, despite his betrayal, received a portion, the essence of wisdom and consequence. Restoring diminished aspects of his ancient being while incorporating fundamental limitations against future corruption. His withered form rejuvenated partially, Enig. H to continue serving as living record of past failures and their costs. Chronos alone received nothing, the dragon essence actively rejecting his attempt to intercept the distribution. Galaxy Eyes BL. AZED with indignation as he witnessed power he'd coveted flowing to others deemed more worthy. As the transformation completed, something extraordinary happened, the reality fracture spreading throughout the dragon realm reversed direction. Closing rather than expanding as distributed essence established harmonic balance across multiple vessels. The dimension stabilized, formless energy regaining coherence as fundamental forces re-established proper relationship. Goku's transformation completed differently than anticipated, not as singular vessel containing all dragon essence but as connected focal point within balanced distribution. His form retained its draconic aspects, golden scales covering much of his body while his eyes maintained their brilliant gold hue. Yet the overwhelming cosmic awareness that had threatened to dissolve his identity now existed in harmonic network across the newly established pantheon, each member containing aspects that resonated with their fundamental nature. Impossible, Chronos whispered, galaxy eyes reflecting genuine shock. The prophecy was always interpreted as singular ascension. Deliberate misinterpretation, Setsuna corrected, her newly NCED temporal awareness perceiving historical manipulation with perfect clarity. The ancient archives were altered specifically to conceal distributed ascension as possibility. By whom? Keita questioned, ancestral memory flowing through her transformed consciousness. By those who feared balanced power beyond their control, Ryujin answered, ancient eyes reflecting complex regret. Including myself, in younger days. Chronos assessed the transformed group with cold calculation, galaxy eyes narrowing as he considered options. This changes nothing fundamental. Distributed or concentrated, he dragon essence remains too powerful to exist outside established cosmic hierarchy. Before he could act on this assertion, reality shuddered around them, not from internal collapse but external assault. The Void Collective's final incursion had accelerated despite Goku's sealing attempt, multiple breach points connecting to form network attack against dimensional foundations themselves. They've adapted to the distributed essence, Minerva observed, enhanced intellect processing incoming data with supernatural speed. They're targeting harmonic junction points between dimensions rather than individual boundaries. Chronos' temporal disruption weakened our countermeasures, Amara added, natural awareness expanded through dragon essence integration. They're exploiting the distraction he created. The time deity's expression shifted from calculation to concern as he recognized implications beyond immediate power struggle. The Void Collective breaching dimensional foundation threat. NS established time streams across the multiverse. My domain itself is endangered. Then perhaps we have common cause after all, Goku suggested, transformed features reflecting neither accusation nor resentment despite recent betrayal. Help us stop them, and we can discuss cosmic hierarchy afterward. Chronos hesitated, galaxy eyes assessing probabilities with ancient precision. After moments' consideration, he inclined his head in reluctant agreement. Temporary alliance accepted. Void containment takes priority over jurisdictional disputes. With crisis overriding previous conflict, the Group coordinated response through their newly established connection. The distributed dragon essence created communication network beyond conventional limitations, allowing instantaneous sharing of pay. Perception and intent across the transformed pantheon. We need to address 37 breach points simultaneously, Minerva calculated, enhanced intellect mapping dimensional intersections with perfect accuracy. Conventional sequential approach insufficient given expansion rate. Then we divide our forces, Goku decided, natural leadership complemented by enhanced awareness. each focusing on B. Reach points that match our specific aspects of the essence. Kata accessed ancestral memory containing records of previous void incursions. Historical precedent suggests coordinated harmonic respawn. Say most effective against collective intelligence. Our frequencies must align despite physical separation. I can establish temporal synchronization across intervention points, Setsuna offered, Newell. Y enhanced chronological awareness extending across dimensional boundaries, ensuring simultaneous application regardless of local time variance. My connection to living systems provides activation. Network through existing dimensional flora, Amara added, amber eyes glowing with draconic power. Creating natural transmission medium for our combined intent. Zora analyzed breach points with professional precision. Silver draconic eyes identifying optimal intervention locations. Priority targets identified based on structural vulnerability and expansion rate. Tactical distribution of Pantheon resources recommended. Even Ryujin contributed, ancient knowledge finding constructive application despite previous betrayal. The Void Collective fears resonant harmonic more than raw power. Sinker. Onized application across distributed vessels creates reinforcing pattern they cannot adapt to simultaneously. Chronos, recognizing the effectiveness of their integrated approach, reluctantly added temporal expertise. I can establish chrono isolation fields around primary breach points, preventing temporal exploitation during your intervention. With strategy established, they prepared for Diamond. Sional transit to their assigned locations. Unlike conventional teleportation, their newly transformed natures allowed direct manipulation of reality itself, creating pathways between points through Fu. NDA mental reconnection rather than traversal. Before separating, Goku addressed his transformed companions with characteristic straightforwardness despite his divine appearance. This isn't how any of us expected things to unfold, he acknowledged, golden eyes meeting each in turn. But I believe this distribution is how it was always meant to be. Not one being with absolute power, but balanced partnership based on trust. The sentiment resonated through their connected consciousness, dragon essence responding with harmonious approval. Even Chronos, excluded from this distribution but witnessing its effectiveness, seemed to reconsider long-held assumptions about cosmic power allocation. With paths established, they separated across dimensions, each traveling to assigned breach points while maintaining harmonic connection through their shared essence. What followed was unlike conventional battle in every respect, confrontation occurring simultaneously across multiple realities, each Pantheon member addressing void incursions uniquely suited to their specific aspect of dragon power. Kata arrived at the dimensional junction between Earth and 6 connected realities, ancestral memory GU. Adding her transformed consciousness to the breach point's historical significance. This location had witnessed previous incursions throughout time, making it particularly vulnerable to void exploitation. The breach manifested differently than earlier manifestations, not merely tear in reality but systematic unraveling, dimensional boundaries dissolving into component patterns that the Void Collective harvested with methodical precision. Entities resembling industrial complexes merged with organic components processed these patterns, converting stable reality into programmable void material. Draw. Wing on tradition and memory aspects of the dragon essence, Kata accessed the complete historical record of this dimensional junction, every previous configuration, every successful defense, every Ural harmonic that had maintained its stability for eons. Her ceremonial staff glowed with golden light as she channeled this knowledge into practical application. Dragon restoration, she intoned, the OICE carrying multiple harmonics that resonated with the junction's natural frequency. The staff struck dimensional ground with precise force, golden energy flowing outward in patterns that matched the junction's original configuration. Where void entities had unraveled reality, dragon essence rewove it according to historical template, not imposing new structure but reminding existing patterns of their proper formation. Void entities responded immediately, industrial organic forms reconfiguring to counter this unexpected approach. Memory reconstruction detected, pattern corruption required. They redirected harvesting arrays, attempting to absorb and distort the historical templates Kata deployed. She anticipated this response, Dragon Clan training enhanced by essence integration. Her transformed body moved through formal stances that transcended mere physical combat, each position creating harmonic resonance that reinforced dimensional stability while disrupting void adaptation. The Dragon Clan remembers what reality forgets, she stated with formal certainty, golden scales brightening as she channeled deeper memories beyond conscious record, the fundamental patterns that predated current dimensional configuration. The void entities shuddered as these primal memories manifested through her staff, ancient configurations overwhelming their analytical systems with foundational data too fundamental to process. Where they expected to find manipulable patterns, they encountered original templates resistant to corruption through inherent authenticity. Through her connection to the distributed pantheon, Kata synchronized this approach with her companions, sending historical templates that strengthened their individual interventions while receiving tactical information that enhanced her own response. The balance achieved through distribution proved more effective than singular application, each aspect reinforcing others through complementary approach. Minerva faced differ. NT challenge at technological nexus point where 17 advanced civilizations, dimensional experiments had created persistent weakness in reality's structure. Her human crystal hybrid form processed information at supernatural speed, enhanced intellect perceiving the mathematical precision underlying the Void Collective's exploitation of scientific curiosity. The breach here manifested through technological systems themselves, quantum computers, dimensional scanners, and experimental generators serving as access points for void infiltration. Rather than obvious physical tear, this incursion spread like viral code through information networks, corrupting data patterns to gradually rewrite dimensional parameters from within. Fascinating approach, she observed with scientific appreciation despite the threat. They're using our own methodologies against us, exploiting experimental protocols to bypass natural dimensional resistance. Drawing on knowledge and discovery aspects of the dragon essence, Minerva interfaced directly with affected systems. Crystal components of her transformed body connected to technological infrastructure, establishing communication beyond conventional protocols. Dragon algorithm, she stated. Voice carrying digital harmonics that translated conceptual understanding into applicable code. Through direct connection, she introduced fundamental corrections to compromised systems, not destructive override but elegant recalibration that revealed the void infiltration while preserving scientific advancement. Where void viral patterns had established corrupted logic loops, she introduced self-correcting parameters based on dragon essence's inherent harmony. Void presence within technological systems responded with rapid adaptation, digital constructs evolving countermeasures against her intervention. Analytical entity detected. Recursive adaptation initiated. Minerva smiled at this predictable response, enhanced intellect already calculating count. Adaptations before void measures fully deployed. The scientific method requires accurate observation before conclusion, she explained conversationally while her crystal components processed complex calculations. You've based your approach on incomplete data sets regarding dragon essence properties. Through technological interface, she demonstrated this error directly, introducing not defensive measures but expanded understanding. Showing void constructs the fundamental limitations of their analytical framework. Rather than fighting their processing directly, she provided enlightening data that caused internal contradictions within their operational parameters. The void construct struggled to integrate this new information, logical frameworks experiencing cascading failures as they attempted to process conceptual understanding beyond their designed limitations. Where they expected conventional technological countermeasures, they encountered philosophical expansion that questioned their foundational assumptions about reality itself. Through pantheon connection, Minerva shared analytical insights that enhanced her companion's strategic approaches while receiving intuitive understanding that complemented her logical frameworks. The synthesis of different cognitive styles proved more comprehensive than singular methodology, creating response pattern too multifaceted for void intelligence to counter simultaneously. Setsuna confronted temporal breach point where chronological distortions had created vulnerability in reality's sequential integrity. Her fully stabilized form moved through fractured time with practiced precision, star-flecked hair tracking timeline variations through visual representation as she assessed void exploitation of temporal weakness. The breach Air didn't present as spatial tear but chronological fragmentation, time itself splintering into disconnected moments that void entities harvested and reorganized according to their own dimensional framework. Past, present, and future lost coherent relationship, creating causality disruptions that threatened fundamental reality maintenance. Drawing on time and continuity aspects of the dragon essence, Setsuna extended temporal awareness beyond conventional limitations. Golden chronological markers across her skin illuminated as she perceived the complete temporal pattern underlying apparent chaos. Dragon chronology, she intoned, voice resonating through past, present, and future simultaneously. With precise gestures, she re-established proper temporal sequence, not forcing artificial order, but revealing natural progression temporarily obscured by void interference. Where chronological fragments had been scattered, she provided connective context that allowed them to recognize their proper relationship. Void entities existing between moments responded with temporal distortion attacks, attempting to isolate her consciousness in chronological loops while continuing their harvesting operation. Temporal reorganization contrary to collection parameters. Chrono-isolation required. Setsuna navigated these attacks with experienced grace, her enhanced nature allowing simultaneous existence across multiple time states. Time is not merely sequence but relationship, she explained, voice reaching void entities regardless of temporal positioning. You harvest moments without understanding their connective context. Through direct temporal manipulation, she demonstrated this fundamental oversight, revealing how each harvested moment contained inherent connection to larger chronologic tapestry regardless of apparent isolation. Rather than opposing their temporal distortions directly, she showed how such manipulations created self-correcting paradoxes within their own operational timeline. The void entities experienced processing disruption as temporal causality reasserted itself within their collected fragments, harvested moments spontaneously reconnecting to proper sequence. Through natural chronological attraction, where they expected malleable time components, they encountered fundamental continuity that resisted permanent rearrangement. Through pantheon connection, Suna provided temporal synchronization that enhanced her companion's coordinated response while receiving spatial insights that complemented her chronological expertise. The integration of different dimensional perspectives created intervention model too comprehensive for void specialization to counter effectively. Amara addressed ecological breach point where biospheric connections between 7 life-bearing dimensions had created natural gateway exploited by void infiltration. Her transformed nature moved through living systems with instinctive harmony, amber draconic eyes perceiving the BTLE damage inflicted on dimensional ecosystems by void parasitism. The breach manifested through living organisms themselves, plants, animals, and microbiological systems serving as unwitting conduits for void energy that gradually rewrote their fundamental properties. Unlike obvious destruction, this approach subverted life's natural processes, creating seemingly functional but fundamentally corrupted biological networks. Drawing on life and renewal aspects of the dragon essence, Amara extended awareness through affected ecosystems. Golden-scaled plants adorning her form resonated with living networks across dimensional boundaries, establishing communication beyond conventional limitations. Dragon renewal, she stated, voice carrying harmonic frequencies recognized by life forms regardless of dimensional origin. Through direct connection with living systems, she initiated natural healing response, not imposing external correction but awakening inherent regenerative capabilities temporarily suppressed by void influence. Where biological patterns had been subtly corrupted, she provided remembrance of original design through harmonic resonance. Void presence within ecological systems responded with adaptive mimicry. Biological constructs developing countermeasures against her intervention. Biological purification detected. Accelerated evolution countermeasures deployed. Amara's expression reflected neither concern nor surprise as corrupted organisms developed void-influenced adaptations. Life inherently recognizes harmony, she explained while maintaining connection with uncorrupted systems. Your imitations lack fundamental resonance with interconnected existence. Through ecological interface, she demonstrated this critical difference, not fighting biological adaptity ons directly but enhancing communication between healthy systems across dimensional boundaries. Rather than opposing corruption through destruction, she strengthened natural recognition capabilities had identified and isolated void-influenced components through organic consensus. The void biological constructs found themselves rejected by the very ecosystems they had infiltrated, natural systems. developing spontaneous immunity to their presence once proper communication was re-established. Where they expected gradual acceptance through superficial mimicry, they encountered fundamental recognite ion factors that identified them as non-harmonic regardless of surface adaptation. Through pantheon connection, Amara shared ecological insights that enhanced her companion's understanding of living systems while receiving technical knowledge that complemented her natural awareness. The synthesis of intuitive and analytical approaches created response pattern too comprehensive for specialized void adaptation to overcome effectively. Zora confronted direct assault point where void entities had established primary incursion beachhead through dimensional barrier breach. Her transformed form moved with lethal precision through contested reality, silver draconic eyes identifying structural weaknesses in both void manifestations and dimensional boundaries requiring reinforcement. Unlike other BR, each points focused on specific aspects of reality, this location represented direct confrontation, void entities manifesting in concentrated force with explicit intent to establish permanent presence, from which further incursions could be launched. Their forms combined aspects encountered elsewhere into unified assault configuration optimized for dimensional conquest. Drawing on boundaries and protection aspects of the dragon essence, Zora accessed specialized capabilities beyond conventional limitations. Her integrated armor components reconfigured continuously, adapting to threat assessment with supernatural efficiency. Dragon threshold, she stated, voice carrying precise harmonic frequencies that reinforced dimensional integrity. With calculated movements, she established boundary ray enforcement grid, not merely defensive barrier but active definition system that clarified dimensional parameters through precise application of essence-enhanced technology. Where reality had become ambiguous through void intrusion, she provided exact delineation that reduced infiltration vectors to manageable quantity. Void entities responded with concentrated assault, convergence forms directing specialized attack patterns against her intervention. Boundary reinforcement detected. Primary target identified. Termination priority assigned. Zora's silver draconic eyes narrowed slightly. The only indication of response is her integrated weapons systems engaged automatically. Tactical assessment. Your convergence formation sacrifices adaptive capability for concentrated force, she observed W. Heil systematically targeting structural weaknesses. Specialized response more effective against distributed defense. Through precise application of essence-enhanced weaponry, she demonstrated this. Tactical error. Not engaging their concentrated force directly but executing surgical strikes against connection points maintaining their convergence formation. Rather than opposing their collective strength directly, she systematically isolated components through targeted boundary definition that prevented coordinated response. The void convergence experienced progressive fragmentation as constituent entities found themselves operating in increasingly isolated dimensional pockets, collective intelligence disrupted by precise boundary manipulation that prevented synchronized action. Where they expected to overwhelm through concentrated presence, they encountered systematic division that reduced their effectiveness exponentially. Through Pantheon connection, Zora shared tactical insights to enhanced her companion's strategic positioning while receiving conceptual understanding that complemented her practical expertise. The integration of philosophical and operational approaches created defense system too comprehensive for specialized void tactics to penetrate effectively. Even Ryujin, despite his diminished status and previous betrayal, contributed meaningfully at historical breach point where his ancient knowledge provided crucial context for effective intervention. His partially rejuvenated form moved with cautious purpose through familiar dimensional territory, ancient eyes recognizing patterns from previous void incursions he had witnessed over countless millennia. The breach here manifested through conceptual corruption rather than physical tear, fundamental ideas about reality itself being gradually rewritten through subtle void influence on conscious beings across connected dimensions. Unlike direct assault, this approach subverted understanding itself, creating conceptual frameworks that normalized void presence through philosophical adjustment. Drawing on wisdom and consequence aspects of the dragon essence, Ryujin accessed historical perspective beyond conventional record. His ancient form channeled memories of previous corruption cycles, recognizing methodologies unchanged despite superficial adaptation. Dragon recollection, he stated, voice carrying Weight of personal experience spanning eons. Through direct conceptual intervention, he provided historical context to affected consciousness, not imposing external correction but offering perspective. That revealed void manipulation through comparative understanding. Where fundamental concepts had been subtly corrupted, he provided historical examples demonstrating similar approaches and their eventual consequences. Void conceptual constructs responded with philosophical countermeasures, abstract frameworks developing aggressive self-justification against his intervention. Historical context irrelevant to progressive understanding. Experiential validation supersedes precedent. Ryujin's ancient eyes reflected complex emotion, recognition of arguments he himself had once found persuasive during younger days. The most dangerous corruption begins with appealing truth, he acknowledged while maintaining historical context demonstration. I once believed as you suggest, that new understanding necessarily invalidates historical experience. Through direct engagement with abstract concepts, he revealed the cyclical nature of void philosophical approach, not rejecting their arguments direct, but placing them within larger historical pattern that demonstrated predictable progression from appealing premise to destructive conclusion. Rather than opposing their logic through counter-argument, he simply extended their propositions to natural conclusions already manifested throughout historical record. The void conceptual constructs experienced internal contradiction as their supposedly novel philosophical frameworks revealed themselves as recognizable patterns with documented outcomes contrary to their presented benefits. Where they expected resistance through opposing philosophy, He encountered contextual expansion that incorporated their position within larger understanding while revealing its predictable limitations. Through pantheon connection, Ryujin shared historical IGHTS that enhanced his companion's contextual understanding while receiving fresh perspectives that complemented his ancient knowledge. The integration of historical and innovative approaches created conceptual framework too comprehensive for specialized void philosophy to undermine effectively. Goku himself addressed the central nexus where all breach points connected through dimensional substructure. His transformed form moved through fundamental reality with natural harmony, golden draconic eyes perceiving the complex pattern underlying apparent chaos as void entities attempted coordinated incursion across multiple fronts simultaneously. Unlike specialized breach points targeting specific aspects of reality, this central location represented fundamental connection point where dimension boundaries themselves originated, the conceptual source from which separation between realities manifested into practical division. Void entities sought to corrupt this primal junction, replacing natural boundary formation with artificial constructs under their control. Drawing on integration and balance aspects of the dragon essence, Goku accessed understanding beyond conventional division. Den scales brightening across his transformed body, he perceived how seemingly separate dimensions existed as expressions of singular underlying reality differentiated through natural variation rather than fundamental division. Dragon harmony, he stated, voice carrying resonant frequencies that reminded reality itself of its inherent connection beneath apparent separation. With intuitive precision, he addressed the fundamental pattern underlying dimensional boundaries, not creating artificial separation but revealing natural differentiation that allowed diverse expression while maintaining essential connection. Where void entities attempted to impose constructed division, he demonstrated inherent relationship that transcended apparent boundaries. The void collective's central intelligence responded with direct confrontation, primary consciousness manifesting through conceptual representation rather than physical form. Integration contrary to evolutionary advancement. Differentiation through isolation optimizes specialized development. Goku's transformed features reflected thoughtful consideration rather than automatic rejection. Specialization has value, he acknowledged while maintaining harmonic demonstration, but not at cost of fundamental connection. Diversity strengthens through relationship, not isolation. Through direct engagement with primal reality patterns, he demonstrated this essential principle, not opposing specialization itself but revealing how its benefits multiplied through maintained connection rather than artificial separation. Where void philosophy promoted isolation as path to advancement, he showed practical examples of synthesis creating outcomes impossible through specialized development alone. The void central intelligence experienced conceptual disruption as practical evidence contradicted foundational assumption, examples from countless dimensions demonstrating how connection between specialized systems created emergent capabilities beyond sum of isolated components. Where they expected resistance through opposing philosophy, they encountered practical demonstration that rendered theoretical argument obsolete through functional evidence. Through Pantheon connection, Goku integrated insights from all companions simultaneously, creating comprehensive response pattern that addressed void incursion at conceptual, temporal, ecological, technological, historical, and practical levels simultaneously. The distributed approach proved exponentially more effective than singular application, each aspect enhancing others through complementary function rather than competitive hierarchy. As coordinated intervention reached critical effectiveness across all breach points simultaneously, the Void Collective attempted desperate consolidation, abandoning specialized approaches to concentrate remaining resources on fundamental reality disruption. Their combined consciousness directed total effort toward dimensional foundation itself, seeking to shatter the conceptual framework maintaining separation between void dimension and conventional reality. This final assault manifested as reality storm of unprecedented proportions, void energy. Why converging from all breach points toward central nexus where Goku maintained harmonic balance. Chronos, witnessing this development through temporal observation, recognized existential threat transcending immediate power concerns. They attempt dimensional collapse. The time deity warned, galaxy eyes reflecting genuine alarm. If successful, reality boundaries dissolve permanently, all dimensions becoming void. Through their connected consciousness, the Dragon Pantheon perceived this threat simultaneously. Without requiring verbal coordination, they redirected individual efforts toward synchronized response, each channeling their specific aspect of dragon essence toward central nexus where Goku prepared to receive their combined power. Kata contributed tradition and memory, providing structural templates from reality's original formation that reinforced fundamental patterns against void corruption. The original design remembers itself when reminded. Minerva added knowledge and discovery, offering mathematical precision that defined dimensional parameters through elegant equations impossible to disrupt without cascading system failure. Fundamental constants maintain integrity. Rough multiple redundant verification systems. Setsuna supplied time and continuity, establishing chronological anchoring that prevented temporal disruption from undermining causal relationships maintaining reality separation. Sequential integrity reinforces dimensional boundaries through consistent causality. Amara provided life and renewal, contributing organic resilience that adapted to void influence through evolutionary response faster than corruption could spread through living networks. Natural systems recognize and reject harmonic dissonance through collective immunity. Zora deliver boundaries and protection, implementing precise limitation protocols that defined dimensional thresholds through uncompromising clarity immune to conceptual ambiguity. Exact delineation eliminates infiltration through definitional precision. Ryujin offered wisdom and consequence, supplying historical context that revealed predictable outcomes of void philosophy through documented precedent impossible to dismiss through theoretical argument. Established pattern recognition prevents repetition of historical failures. Even Chronos, recognizing necessity beyond personal ambition, contributed. Temporal stabilization, maintaining consistent time flow that prevented chrono exploitation during critical intervention. Temporal continuity provides operational framework for coordinated response. At the central nexus, Goku received these contributions through the distributed connection established during incomplete ascension. Rather than merely combining separate powers into greater force, he integrated their fundamental qualities into harmonious whole, each aspect enhancing others through natural relationship rather than hierarchical arrangement. Dragon Pantheon unification, he stated, the OICE carrying multilayered resonance that represented combined consciousness rather than individual declaration. Golden energy expanded outward from his transformed form, not as overwhelming force but as fundamental reminder of reality's inherent nature. Where void assault sought to impose artificial corruption through external pressure, this unified response simply revealed authentic pattern tempo. Rarely obscured through dimensional disruption. The effect manifested across all breach points simultaneously, reality itself remembering its proper configuration through resonant harmonic demonstrated by the distributed pantheon. Void energy found itself fundamentally incompatible with reinforced dimensional patterns, unable to maintain presence within clarified parameters established through combined intervention. The Void Collective's central intelligence recognized defeat with cold precision. Tactical withdrawal required, unexpected defense configuration encountered, strategic reassessment necessary. Their forces disengaged with calculated efficiency, not chaotic retreat but organized withdrawal, preserving maximum resources for future operations. Breach points closed sequentially as void presence receded, dimensional boundaries re-establishing natural resilience against further incursion through Pantheon reinforcement. As immediate threat subsided, the distributed companions recon. CTED physically at central nexus where Goku maintained harmonic balance. Their transformed appearances reflected both individual nature and shared essence, unique manifestations of specific aspects while maintaining connected relationship through golden draconic elements common to all. We did it, Minerva stated with scientific satisfaction, crystal components calculating successful intervention parameters with precise efficiency. Distributed application proved 732% more effective than theoretical maximum for singular vessel. The prophecy makes sense now, Kata added, ancestral memory prov. Iding contextual understanding unavailable through conventional record. The Dragon Clan misinterpreted. Vessel, a singular container rather than connected network. A misinterpretation I encouraged, Ryujin acknowledged. Ancient eyes reflecting complex emotion. The temptation of singular power corrupted my understanding of fundamental design. Chronos observed their transformed group with reassessed calculation. Galaxy eyes studying the distributed pattern with newfound respect. Impressive methodology, he conceded reluctantly. Though questions of cosmic hierarchy remain unresolved. Hey, RAP's hierarchy itself requires reconsideration, Setsuna suggested, enhanced temporal awareness perceiving potential futures with unprecedented clarity. Distributed responsibility offers balanced OV, or sight impossible through conventional chain of command. Amara nodded agreement. Amber draconic eyes reflecting natural wisdom. Living systems demonstrate this principle consistently. Balanced ecosystems outperform dominated structures in long-term stability. Tactical analysis confirms distributed defense superiority against coordinated assault, Zora added, professional assessment complement. D by newfound connection to larger purpose. Single-point vulnerability eliminated through network resilience. Goku smiled. The expression somehow both familiar and transcendent on his transformed features. I think we're just beginning to understand what this pantheon can accomplish together. As reality stabilized around them, the Dragon Pantheon faced choice regarding their future relationship with established cosmic order. Chronos extended formal invitation to integration within existing hierarchy, offering recognized position subordinate to established authorities but with considerable autonomy within defined parameters. After thoughtful consideration communicated through their connected consciousness, Goku responded on behalf of the distributed group. We appreciate the offer, he stated diplomatically. But the dragon essence functions best through balanced partnership rather than hierarchical position. We'll maintain independent operation while cooperating with existing authorities where our responsibilities align. The Time Deity's galaxy eyes narrowed slightly at this declaration of independence, but practical reality tempered his response. The distributed pantheon had demonstrated effectiveness beyond conventional cosmic management. Attempting to force compliance would likely prove both difficult and counterproductive. Unorthodox but acceptable, he finally acknowledged. Provided dimensional stability remains your primary focus and direct interference with established domains remains minimal. With tentative accord established, the newly formed Dragon Pantheon returned to Earth, their transformed natures allowing simultaneous existence across multiple dimensions while maintaining primary presence in chosen location. The Capsule Corporation compound served as temporary headquarters while more permanent arrangements developed through collective planning. So what happens now? Bulma asked pragmatically when introduced to the transformed group. Her charactery, stick adaptability allowed remarkably quick adjustment to friends becoming deities, focusing instead on practical implications. Do you all just govern dimensions forever? Not govern, Goku clarified. Transformed features retaining his fundamental straightforwardness despite divine appearance. Maintain balance. Help dimensions stay connected without losing their unique qualities. Like ecosystem management on cosmic scale, Amara explained, plants growing around her feet as she moved through Bulma's laboratory with curious interest. Encouraging healthy relationships between systems without imposing artificial uniformity. There's substantial research potential, Minerva added, crystal components interfacing with Capsule Corp technology with supernatural efficiency. Dimensional harmonics study alone could revolutionize understanding of fundamental physics. Keita approached the discussion with formal perspective softened by recent experiences. The Dragon Clan will require substantial revision of our historical records and operational protocols, she acknowledged, ceremonial staff recording new understanding for future generations. Distributed service rather than singular. Devotion represents paradigm shift in our fundamental purpose. Tactical operations require coordination center with dimensional monitoring capabilities, Zora observed, integrated armor components S. Canning the facility with professional assessment. This location provides adequate foundation for preliminary headquarters despite technological limitations. I can help with those limitations, Ma offered with characteristic confidence. Give me a week and some guidance on what you need, and I'll build you something properly impressive. As practical arrangements proceeded, personal relationships developed with increasing complexity. The distributed nature of their connection created intimate understanding impossible through conventional interaction, each Pantheon member perceiving others' fundamental nature beyond superficial presentation. For Goku specifically, this created unexpected dynamic with the 5 women sharing dragon essence connection. Their relationship transcended simple romantic attraction, incorporating profound understanding typically impossible between separate beings. Each connection developed unique characteristics reflecting individual compatibility. With Keita, he shared warrior's understanding enhanced by her formal devotion to tradition balanced against his intuitive approach to combat. Their training sessions evolved beyond physical technique to incorporate philosophical exploration of discipline versus instinct, structure versus freedom. With Minerva, he developed intellectual curiosity previously untapped, her scientific methodology complementing his experiential learning style. Their discussions bridged theoretical knowledge and practical application, each enhancing the other's understanding through complementary perspective. With Setsuna, he explored temporal philosophy beyond linear perception, her chronological awareness expanding his understanding of consequence beyond immediate effect. Their connection transcended conventional sequence, experiencing relationship through simultaneous awareness rather than progressive development. With Amara, he discovered deeper connection to natural systems, her ecological harmony enhancing his appreciation for life beyond combat application. Their interaction often occurred within living environments she created specifically to demonstrate subtle relationships between seemingly unrelated organisms. With Zora, he found unexpected compatibility through opposing backgrounds, her professional detachment gradually yielding to genuine connection as his straightforward acceptance undermined defensive isolation. Their relationship developed through shared purpose rather than emotional declaration, actions communicating more effectively than words. These connections developed without conventional progression or explicit arrangement, mutual understanding simply deepening through shared experience and essence connection. The distributed nature of Pantheon relationship eliminated traditional concerns about exclusivity or competition, each connection complementing rather than competing with others through natural harmony. Even Ryujin found place within this new arrangement, his ancient knowledge providing valuable perspective despite previous betrayal. While not sharing romantic connection with other Pantheon members, he contributed historical context and hard-earned wisdom regarding essence application. His partial redemption came not through dramatic gesture but consistent contribution to collective purpose, demonstrating change through sustained action rather than declared intention. As weeks passed, the Dragon Pantheon established operational protocols for maintaining dimensional balance while respecting individual world sovereignty. Unlike previous cosmic authorities imposing regulation from above, their approach emphasized supporting natural development while preventing harmful exploitation, intervention minimized except where necessary to prevent dimensional damage. Their headquarters evolved beyond conventional structure into multidimensional nexus, simultaneously existing across connected realities while maintaining primary access point on Earth. Bulma's Tekken, a logical genius combined with Pantheon capabilities created monitoring system tracking dimensional harmony across countless worlds, identifying potential disruptions before critical development. The VOID collective maintained strategic distance following their defeated incursion, though occasional probing attempts suggested continued interest in dimensional infiltration. These limited operations provided valuable training opportunities for Pantheon members developing their individual and collective capabilities through practical application. Kronos and other cosmic authorities maintained IOUS relationship with the newly established Pantheon, neither fully accepting their independent status nor directly challenging their operational autonomy. This uneasy détente stabilized into professional cooperation where responsibilities aligned, pragmatic partnership proving more effective than ideological conflict. 6 months after formation, the Dragon Pantheon gathered at their Nexus headquarters to assess progress and plan future development. Each member had grown significantly in their understanding and application of their specific essence aspect, while collective harmony had strengthened through consistent cooperation. Dimensional stability has improved 28% across monitored sectors, Minerva reported with scientific precision, crystal components displaying complex data visualizations. Harmonic resonance between connected realities shows particular improvement in previously vulnerable junction points. The Dragon Clan has established 16 new monitoring outposts across key dimensions. Kata added, ceremonial staff displaying locations through projected visualization. Training programs for future interpreters proceed ahead of schedule, with particular emphasis on distributed service methodology. Temporal distortions have decreased 63% in primary travel corridors, Setsuna confirmed, chronological markers across her skin tracking. Improvement through visual representation. The Kronos Guard has unofficially adopted several of our harmonic stabilization techniques despite formal disavowal. Natural systems affected by previo as disruption show remarkable recovery rates, Amara reported with evident satisfaction, living plants adorning her form displaying healthier coloration. Cross-dimensional pollination pathways have established spontaneously in 17 previously isolated ecosystems. Security protocols have intercepted 23 unauthorized incursion attempts, Zora stated with professional assessment. NTE-graded armor components displaying tactical analysis. Pattern recognition suggests decreasing frequency and complexity in void penetration methodology. Historical analysis confirms unprecedented stability in dimensional relationship architecture, Ryujin concluded, ancient eyes reflecting genuine approval. The distributed Pantheon approach demonstrates superior long-term sustainability compared to previous management methodologies. Goku listened to these reports with quiet satisfaction, transformed features reflecting pleased but not complacent evaluation. The golden scales across his form had developed more complex patterns over months of integration, responding to deepening understanding of his role within the balanced Pantheon. We've made good progress, he acknowledged when reports concluded. But we're still learning what we can accomplish together. This simple observation captured fundamental difference between their approach and previous cosmic management, continuous development through collaborative exploration rather than rigid adherence to established protocol. The Dragon Pantheon operated not as finished product but evolving partnership, each member contributing to collective growth through individual development. As evening approached, their formal meeting transitioned to more personal gathering, shared meal prepared with ingredients from multiple dimensions. Conversation flowing naturally between operational discussion and personal connection. Unlike conventional organizations maintaining strict separation between professional and personal spheres, our distributed nature integrated all aspects of experience into harmonious whole. Later, beneath night sky filled with stars gaining new meaning through cosmic awareness, Goku stood alongside his transformed companions. Golden draconic eyes observed celestial bodies with enhanced perception, seeing beyond physical light to the complex relationship between apparently separate systems. It's still strange sometimes, he admitted, voice carrying harmonic depth that complemented rather than replaced his natural tone. Being connected to everything like this. Feeling dimensions interact, Kata nodded understanding, formal posture relaxed in comfortable familiarity. The Dragon Clan teachings describe it as intimate infinity, simultaneously connected to everything while maintaining individual perspective. The mathematical models suggest our consciousness exists in quantum superposition, Minerva added, crystal components glowing softly in darkness. simultaneously individual and collective depending on observational framework. Quote, time itself experiences similar duality, Setsuna observed, star-flecked hair reflecting celestial patterns above. Moments exist as discrete events while simultaneously participating in continuous flow. Natural systems demonstrate this principle consistently, Amara contributed, amber draconic eyes perceiving living connections between apparently separate organisms. Individual components maintaining distinct identity while participating in collective processes. Tactical analysis identifies strength through balanced tension, Zora concluded, Sylv. Are draconic eyes assessing their group with professional appreciation softened by personal connection. Neither complete merger nor total separation optimizes functional capability. Ryujin observed th. Interaction with ancient wisdom enhanced by renewed perspective. The original prophecy described it as harmony through complementary resonance, distinct notes creating chord impossible through singular sound. Goku smiled at these varied perspectives expressing similar understanding through different frameworks, perfect demonstration of their complementary approach in practical application. Quote, I think that's the real strength of this pantheon, he observed with characteristic insight beneath apparent simplicity. Not just that we share power, but that we see things differently while working toward the same goal. This observation captured essential truth at their collective foundation, diversity strengthening unity rather than compromising it, differences enhancing connection rather than undermining it. The Dragon Pantheon represented new approach to cosmic management through balanced partnership rather than hierarchical authority, maintaining order through harmonious relationship rather than imposed regulation. As stars wheeled overhead, the transformed companions shared comfortable silence born of connection transcending conventional communication. Their future held countless challenges as dimension guardians, void incursions, cosmic politics, internal development, relationship navigation, but faced together through distributed strength rather than singular burden. The dragon, God had not become one being but many in balance, fulfilling prophecy through interpretation transcending traditional understanding. And in this transformation, something new had entered cosmic awareness. Potential for connection without dominance, for power without corruption, for divinity without detachment from those it served. The night sky seemed to approve, stars shining with particular brilliance. Ants above the gathering of beings who had discovered that greatest strength comes not from concentrated power but balanced distribution, a lesson perhaps useful for dimensions and individuals alike. _blank_blank. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.